Welcome back to the Blue Lounge. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. How are you? How is everybody doing? I hope everyone is doing well. I've been away for a few days, but it feels like ages. I hope you're all having a good evening. I know we didn't have one yesterday, but today hopefully is another day, a blessed day. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is doing good. Today we have hopefully an interesting stream for you guys. We're going to be discussing the striker situation at Chelsea Football Club. We're going to be looking specifically at four main players, four key players. And they are Romelu Lukaku, Tammy Abraham, Kai Havertz, and Armando Broja. They are the four players we're going to be looking at specifically. I know there are other players who can play as strikers, who do sometimes fill in as strikers, the likes of Pulisic, the likes of, Timo Werner. But no, we're talking about the players who have been playing as strikers for the majority of their time this season. Their main goal is strikers. Two of these players play for Chelsea Football Club currently. One has been sold, the other has been loaned out. We're going to be discussing their situation. We're going to be discussing our situation as a club when it comes to our strikers, how we play them, how we handle them, how we deal with them, how we develop them, how we scout them, and how we pay them. We're going to be looking at all of that. So, many areas are going to be examined here, both in respect to the players, their abilities, and in respect to the club and the way they handle these players. That's what we're going to be discussing tonight. That is the main topic of tonight's video. Before I get into all of that, I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions about the game we saw last night. I'm not going to dwell on it for too long, because I know you've all seen and you've all heard the opinions of many a pundit, many a YouTuber. But I want to give you just a couple of minutes from my side, and then we'll move on to those topics. Before I do that, though, I want to ask you to hit that like button early doors. As soon as you come in, if you're watching this video live, hit the like button now. If you're watching this video afterwards and you got to this point, hit the like button. Every time you hit that like button, it helps. Whenever you hit the like button, the YouTube algorithm takes that as a sign that you've enjoyed the video. And if you, as a viewer, enjoy the video, it's going to recommend it to more people. So it would mean a lot to me if you were to hit that like button now. Really appreciate it. Let me just say hello to everyone before we start to get into the two varied topics. I know I posted this stream early, so I had Sal here at early doors and primo serves. But now we have Jeff, who's currently in the chat. Big up to you, Jeff. I hope you're doing well. Courtney, big up to you. And thank you. I am feeling much better. I'm a little bit more mobile. Still having to use these babies, but I'm a little bit more mobile. So thank you for your kind words, and thank you to everyone who has sent me messages of support. I've received a ton, both here on YouTube and other social media platforms. So everyone who's messaged me, thank you so much. It means a lot. Sam Ballard, welcome. Good to see you here. And Iman, also a pleasure to have you here. Let me say hello to my panelist, Boogeyman. How are you? How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm good.
It's my pleasure, Boogie. It's good to have you on. Sorry, I'm just looking up a screen. Podfather, how are you? How you doing?
Good. Happy to be back on the stream and ready to get into some football debate.
Fantastic. Podfather, you've sent me 2 links for the same team, just to let you know.
Are you sure that the first one was Chelsea and the second one was the Liverpool one, wasn't it?
No, they're both coming up on my screen as Liverpool.
Okay, the first one should be Chelsea. Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, no, they're both coming up as Liverpool. Hold on one second. Let me just. Yeah, it says Chelsea in the link. So why is it coming up as Liverpool?
I don't know.
Okay, no, it's correct. It's correct. I must have pressed the wrong link twice. All right, fantastic. Max Burton, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Big up to all the rest of the panelists as well and all those in the chat. Sorry, can you hear me? My mouthpiece was right up my head.
Loud and clear.
So, yeah.
Loud and clear. No.
Okay, cool.
You're good. You're loud and clear. Chris, how are you? How you doing?
Well, unlike everybody else, I'm still fuming from last night, but we'll get into that later on. Big up the Blue Lounge, pleased to be back on the best Chelsea fan channel on YouTube. Big up the panellists, the Boogeyman Pod, Max, and big up the chat.
Big up, Chris. Big up to you. We've had some more people jumping on since, so let me just say hello to them. John Arnold, big up to you. Javi, big up to you. Shard, big up to you. Amvia, big up. 100% mistake. I was telling you guys, Haaland was the best choice. We knew that. We just didn't get him, unfortunately. Luke Mudway, evening. Big up to you. Big up to everyone in the chat. Look, guys, I'm gonna just give you a quick summary of what is happening right now at Chelsea Football Club, in my opinion, and what I saw in the game against Arsenal. The performance was a disaster. I could not believe that we, Chelsea Football Club, blame our own pitch. The fact that Tuchel said the pitch was hard to play on or something along those lines, it's crazy. Because this is our pitch. I can understand an opposing team making that complaint, but we can't do that because we are the ones who make the pitch to the conditions that we want. If we want it to be wet, we water it. If we want it to be dry, we keep it dry. If we want it to be long, the grass is long, we keep it long, short. We do what we want to do. It's our pitch. Within a certain guidance, a certain standard, we can manipulate the pitch to suit us. So for Tuchel to blame the pitch, I could not, for the life of me, understand the logic in saying that. I think his team selection was poor. I think the tactics were poor. I think he underestimated a lot of things in that game. To be fair, he also put his hand up and took ownership of his mistakes. Mistakes were always going to happen in a season this long, and against a team like Arsenal, who for whatever reason bring the A game when they play Chelsea, and for whatever reason, Chelsea become a charity box and helping Arsenal do whatever they want. The reason Mikel Arteta is still in his job is because of Chelsea Football Club. We gave them game after game, win after win in the most crucial points of their seasons. And we did it again. Now, I don't think that the players yesterday had their hearts in the game. A London derby against Arsenal, but they still didn't have their hearts in the game. I think a lot of factors were involved, and especially the fact that the season for us is pretty much over. We got nothing to play for in the league, apart from keeping that third spot and guaranteeing ourselves Champions League football, which is very likely to be the outcome at the end of the season, unless some disasters happen. Hopefully they don't. So the players are not going to be motivated because we don't have anything to... We're not going to get to second. We're not going to win the league. And it's very unlikely that we're going to drop out of the top four. So there's nothing to motivate the players to play. The only game of any value that is left in the season is the FA Cup final against Liverpool. And that is when we're going to see the boys turn up. That is something which is upsetting. I know a lot of you listening to this will be like, so what's the point? It's upsetting. We shouldn't be looking at it this way. We shouldn't be thinking about it this way. But unfortunately, that's where we are. The season is over for Chelsea Football Club in regards to the Premier League. The only thing we have left is the FA Cup, and that is it. And this is why our players are not playing to the standard or the level that they should be. Christensen yesterday wasn't on that pitch. His body was there, but he wasn't. He wasn't. Chalobah should have been playing yesterday. Azpilicueta and Reece James were in the wrong positions. They should have been switched around from the start. I cannot understand the logic behind having Reece James and Azpilicueta both fit and available and playing them as James centre-back and Aspi on the wing. Doesn't make any sense to me. Yet we saw that happen yesterday. So there was a lot of mistakes. The fact that Malang Sarr didn't have any... What's the word here? Any control in his own box. Playing ping pong. Mistakes were happening. Mistakes happened. And the game was lost. The fact that it was to Arsenal, the fact that it was by 4-2 at Stamford Bridge, just made it that little bit more painful. But that's where it was, and that's where it is. We move on. We move on. I hope we don't see another disaster like that from now to the end of the season. I really don't want to see a game like that again. Especially with everything that's going on, it just added more fuel to the fire. And as you know, a team like Arsenal with their fan base will never let this go. So it is where it is. It is where it is. All right. The topic of the evening. The topic of the evening. Before we get into it, let me see. 26 likes and there's 40 of you in here. That doesn't add up. So hit that like button. Get the...
Is Mo froze for anyone else?
Yeah.
Can you guys see me? Hear me?
No, there's a tiger on the screen that says looking for the phone.
All right, now?
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
All right. Tiger on the screen.
Oh, there we go.
Are we good? Are we going to be? Let me just check my internet connection. Hold up. Internet connection. All right, it's fine. Okay. So the topic that I want to address is as follows. We're going to take it one player at a time, and then we will address the whole situation. Now, we're going to talk about, is Romelu Lukaku a flop? £100 million flop. Once we've done that, we're going to talk about Tammy Abraham. Should Chelsea have sold Tammy Abraham? Then we're going to talk about, is Kai Havertz a centre forward? And then we're going to talk about, can we rely on Armando Broja next season? So we're going to address those 4 players in those 4 categories. And then we're going to look at the financial side, and then we're going to look at the other aspects. Lads, panelists, I want you to address these topics one at a time. Don't overlap them. So don't overlap Romelu Lukaku with the other strikers I've just mentioned. As far as comparison, because the comparison will be done at the end. But I want you to address these players. Now, the first one we're going to look at is Romelu Lukaku. Is Romelu Lukaku a £100 million flop? Now, let's have a look at Romelu Lukaku's stats for this season. Is it on the screen? All right, it's on the screen. Okay, so Romelu Lukaku is a 28-year-old Belgian centre forward who's had 101 caps and scored 68 goals on the international level. All right. He's won Scudetto. I think this is the FA Cup and the World Club Cup in his career. Now, I want to look at this season because previous seasons at Inter Milan or elsewhere isn't really relevant, because as far as we're concerned, when we paid £100 million for him, he's worth that money. Based on his career up until he came to Chelsea, he was worth £100 million. And just FYI, transfer market has him valued at £76.5 million right now. So just keep that in mind. Romelu Lukaku has played 21 games in the Premier League, scoring 5 goals, assisting once. In the Premier League, 21 games, 5 goals, 1 assist. Now, I know there's a bunch of them. He came on from the bench. So, 6 goal contributions in 21 games, or in 1,293 minutes. Champions League, 6 games, 2 goals, 1 assist. FA Cup, 5 games, 3 goals. Carabao Cup, 4 games, 0 goals. Club World Cup, we know he scored 2 goals in 2 games, which were pivotal in us winning that tournament. All in all, 38 games this season, 12 goals, 2 assists. Okay? Now, those 12 goals, 7 of them were not in the Premier League. Only 5 goals were scored in the Premier League and 1 assist. I'm going to open this to you guys, my panel. Answer my question. Is Romelu Lukaku a £100 million flop, or is there room for him to redeem himself?
Well, first of all, he's more than a flop. He's a disgrace. Let me just get that right.
Chris.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Go on then.
Talk to me. Facts, logic, disgrace. Let's keep that language away. Let's talk about him as a player and his performances.
All right, okay. To answer your question.
Okay. Yeah.
Is he a flop? Yes, to be nice. He is. He is a flop. There's no beating around the bush. We've gave this guy opportunity opportunity after opportunity. Yeah, those numbers speak for themselves. What was it? 21 games in the league, 5 goals, and those goals, if I'm not mistaken, came in the first half of the season. In 2022, he's done nothing for Chelsea. Yeah, I know he came back and he started strong. He came back in his second debut for the club and he scored against Arsenal. He scored against Zenit in the Champions League and he started off well. Then he got injured, had COVID, came back, scored against Aston Villa, and then scored against Brighton, back-to-back games. And then we all know what happened after that. He done that stupid, ridiculous interview, and then he shot himself in the foot. He's got himself to blame for the lack of confidence. He can blame whoever he wants. That's what he likes to do. He likes to put the blame on everyone else. We've seen it last night in the game. He was given instructions tonight.
I just want to interrupt you for one second. Just as context, Romelu Lukaku's goals, the first one came against Arsenal in his second game.
Yeah.
Then he scored 2 against Aston Villa in his fourth game. All right. And then he didn't score again until Aston Villa, the second tie in December, where he scored once, and then against Brighton, and that was it. So he hasn't scored. He hasn't scored since 29 December last year in the Premier League.
Okay, and we paid 97.5 million for him. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Seriously, and I'm like, I see before you interrupted me, mate. Like that game last night, he was, when he was giving instructions to Mount, etc. See, instead of making an effort and putting instructions, make an effort and performing for the team. Have a bit of a presence up top, mate. Seriously, he's the biggest diva I've ever met in football. I've ever seen in football. He is a joke. And you might think I'm being harsh, mate, but I'm just being real. It's not working for Chelsea. He's not working. He's not playing for Chelsea. He doesn't want to be here. He's not playing for the shirt. It's just time to cut our losses. I don't think he'll be here next season. He'll be here next season, in my opinion, because I don't see him getting offloaded in the summer, in my opinion. But seriously, if he's staying, and I'm wasting my breath, I'm wasting my time here, but he needs to perform, and I just can't see it. Those numbers are embarrassing. I cannot believe it. Honestly, I'm so angry from last night and looking at these numbers of a player that we paid so much money for and we relied so much on this season, and he's done nothing. A joke.
All right, can I come in now?
Yeah, sure, go
ahead. As you guys know, at the beginning of the season, and even halfway through the season, I was defending this guy. If we're looking at it over a season, I always say judge someone over a season or two. If we're judging him over the season, which is 7 games to go for us, then yes, you've got to say that he has been a flop. So that's the answer to your question. Is he a flop? Yeah, the numbers speak for itself, the stats speak for itself. But he's played, when he said 21 games, I've calculated the minutes, and that equates to 14 games. So he's scoring at 1 in 3, which is below his average, because when he first came in, he was a 1 in 2 striker, 1 goal in every 2 games. There is context behind it. Okay, it was some of it was his fault with the interview. There was, if you look at him now, the injury didn't help neither, because the injury came at the wrong time, just as he was finding his form, and that ill-advised interview, I just don't know, because he was looking good. I thought he was coming back, and that Villa game, he was immense in that Villa game, and in the Brighton game, he scored what should have been the winner. Our defence let him down.
Sorry, Max, just to interrupt you for 1 second. This is the injury you're talking about. It happened in the first game he missed was the 23rd of the 10th. And he was out for nearly a month, and then he came back, played sub, and then he had coronavirus. Came back with the coronavirus, scored 2 goals back to back, and then the interview came out. He was dropped, and the rest is history.
Yeah. But so that's the sort of context behind it all. But one thing I would say is, like, what he needs to do. Okay, he's strikers are confidence based. We've seen that with Timo Werner, haven't we? He's scored a couple of goals. Now he looks like a different player. He's trying things that he wouldn't have tried earlier on, and I think because he's had the love of the crowd, which Lukaku hasn't had, maybe because of that interview and before that interview he wasn't getting that love anyway, and plus. What you want to see with your striker is to make a bit of an effort. I saw his heat map yesterday. I'm not sure whether you can bring up a picture of that heat map, if anyone's seen it, but that heat map was terrible. It wasn't even a heat map. I think it was a cold map. You can't even call it a heat map because it was a couple of yellows on there, no reds, no hot spots at all on there. If you're not getting the ball or something, make an effort. There was one situation yesterday which for me was unforgivable. I'm not sure if you guys remembered when
he was through on goal.
The goalkeeper, the Arsenal goalkeeper, came out with conviction. I think Lukaku was actually the favourite to get there ahead of him. He's kind of slowed down whilst the Arsenal keeper, I can't remember his name now, he's coming.
Adam Ramsdale.
Yeah, Ramsdale. Yeah, this Lukaku has actually slowed, and because he'd have got to that first, and because the way that Ramsdale had come out, had he got a toe to that, he's bringing him down. Penalty. Ramsdale's getting sent off. And it's just putting in that hard work.
Is that seriously the heat map? Is that seriously the heat map?
That is his heat map. That is a joke. Talking about. Yeah. That was his heat map yesterday. It's disgraceful. Yeah. So put in the effort. You don't just walk around the pitch when things are not going your way. You have to. If you look at Timo Werner yesterday, do you see that one where he chased back, got the ball, and beat about 3 players? And that's why I think the crowd have taken to him and not so much to Lukaku. I know that the goalkeeper, the striker, judged on the goals, and that's what he should be judged on, the goals he scores. But if things are not working for you, you just do the basics, and you have to do the basics well, and that will get you back in favour. And then it may come back. Once you start doing the basics, then you never know. You may get your form back. I'm not right. Am I going to write him off? No, because we all wrote off Werner. He's okay. He's come strong at the end of the season. Not sure whether he's done enough to stay. Well, obviously, I want to talk about Werner, but maybe next season a little bit of confidence. What strikers are funny. Give them a bit of confidence, and they'll hit them out. They'll start scoring again. Harry Kane this season.
I want to say something about Timo Werner. And again, Timo Werner is not a player we're discussing today, but I want to say something about Timo Werner. A lot of people are now singing his praises and telling me, this guy's turning it around. No, he's not. He's not. Timo Werner hasn't. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Timo Werner hasn't done anything new. He hasn't changed anything. The way he's playing is the same way he's played since day one. The only thing is, things are going his way now. He's getting the rubber, the green. He's getting a bit of luck. While before he wasn't getting that. Okay, now I know people say you create your own luck. Well, yeah, you do, and he is. Okay, he's done the same thing he's done in the past. That ricochet could have gone in a million different directions. It ended up going in the net. Okay, he's taken that shot a million times before. He's been offside. He's been out of position. The ball has gone over the bar. It went in yesterday, and people are now talking or praising the player. Don't praise the player because things are going his way now. Because in a couple of weeks, you're going to be back to where you were a minute ago and talking about the man, he's not doing it for us. When you see something change consistently, when you see something change in the way he plays, in the way he approaches the game, in the position he is being allocated, it might not be him doing something differently. It might be Tuchel is using him in a different role and he starts to perform. Then we can turn, to sit back and say, look, Timo Werner is now doing it for us. And the same for Lukaku. Lukaku could have a couple of games like he had yesterday, but score a brace and score a couple of goals. And all of a sudden, he's the best thing since sliced bread. But he's not, because nothing has changed. Until we see change, we can't make that conclusion, or we can't reach that conclusion. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The only other 2 points I want to make on this one is, first of all, It's a weird one. I don't understand Thomas Tuchel's tactics sometimes because Reece James, we all Reece James was playing right centre back and Aspilicueta was playing right wing back. Yeah, and then as soon as Lukaku went off, they switched, and that's when Reece James were putting in the crosses with no one in the box to cross to. There was so we're not playing to his strengths neither as well. We all know that he wasn't suited to the team to begin with, but I don't understand it. We always seem to put in crosses when he's not on the pitch, and if you look at Kai Havertz's movement, he likes to go wide. He doesn't like to stay central focus in the box. He's more of a mobile person. He likes to occupy the wings or drop deep, and so when the crosses were coming in second half, when Lukaku was off, there was nobody to get on the end of those crosses. But if we can get a buyer for him, because the thing for me is £325,000 a month in wages, a week, in wages. That's an awful lot of wages for someone who's not producing. Well, if you're paying somebody £325 a week, you're expecting them to be a difference maker.
We're gonna address that. We're gonna address wages, scouting, all of that. I just want to talk about the player now, and I want to get through this quite quickly. So I want everyone to summarize their answers because I want to. I wanted to cover your point. I wanted to tell me. I wanted to tell me everything. Take your time telling me what you want to tell me, but at the same time, we've got a lot to get through tonight. So try to summarize your response. Who wants to go next? Pod.
I'll go next. I'll go next.
Okay, go.
So I just want to say, in the immortal words of Claude, it's time for him to go. Facts. Yeah, I mean the guy is done out here. I think you have to look at the larger context of football. He's not the first 100 million flop. You look through Waffle. There are a lot of players that were bought in the last couple of years for these crazy wages that haven't lived up to their potential. Be it Griezmann at Barcelona, João Felix at Atletico Madrid. Some people even say Neymar at PSG. All more expensive than him. But at the same time, I haven't seen any of them perform this badly. And it's not like he's coming to a team that just plays completely alien football and he can't adapt. I think his form has just gotten worse and worse as the season has gone on. Is it a confidence thing? I mean, yes. Most people that you talk to who knew Lukaku personally, or like the people familiar with the Belgian team, will tell you that he's a confidence player. I've seen interviews with Thierry Henry and Martinez, the Belgian manager, tell you that he's the kind of guy, he needs love, he needs the arm around the shoulder, and if he's not getting it, he shrinks. Don't look at his size and be fooled. This is not a one-man wrecking ball. He plays well when he's loved, and he can go through confidence spurts. And we should have known that in our scouting, because you don't pay 100 million for somebody who confidence can drop, and they become almost a hindrance to the team. The way they play, they can't pass, they can't run, their touch is off. He looks almost twice the size as when he came here. He looks heavy. The legs are just not moving. You watch him those first couple of games for Chelsea. He was running against Liverpool, against Arsenal. He was looking like that Inter Milan Lukaku. That guy is gone. You look at him now, he looks lost. Even he has like a sheepish look on his face. When somebody's happy to come off, he was happy to get off that match. When Thomas Tuchel took him off, that was like a mercy. He ran off, and he looked lost on the bench. He wasn't upset.
Pod. You saying that? I saw that, and inside me, I'm like, are you for real?
He wasn't
People
upset.
don't like to get taken. A striker being taken off when we need to score goals.
He ran off, Mo, and he was smiling. He smiled. He was shaking, and he was just looking sheepish on the bench because he had just put in a disaster class. I'm sure he got on the bench, and in his mind he was counting. He was wondering, how many touches did I have? Hopefully, it was more than the 7 I had against Crystal Palace.
Just about, yeah.
Absolutely shocking. So
18, I think.
And at the end of the day, it's not a matter. It's not a debate for whether he's a good player or not. He's a good player. You don't get the stats that he's had or win titles in Italy or score the goals for Belgium that you do if you're a bad player. That's not the debate. The debate is, are you any good to us, Chelsea? And at the moment, you're not. And right now, everybody's saying, oh, well, he's too expensive. We can't sell him. Da, 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 da. Get him on loan somewhere. You know, listen, he looked just as desperate to leave the club as we are to get him out. To be honest, yeah. So we can work in it. You find the club you want to go to. You start talking to them. You get your agent involved. Take a wage cut somewhere, or we'll supplement the wages or whatever, and you go. But you being here is just it's a boulder around the neck of the manager. He has to answer. Look at him yesterday having to answer questions. He was pissed off. He doesn't want to answer any more questions about you.
And you know what makes it even crazier? And again, I'm using the word crazy because it is crazy. Right now, as per Nazar Cancella, there is talks of him making a move to AC Milan. Either a loan, either a transfer, either some sort of deal where he would go and play for AC Milan.
Well, that's going to work out for his relationship with Inter, isn't it? Good decision.
That's the thing. He was nitpicking where he wanted to go to. Oh, I don't mind going to Chelsea if they come in and make a big enough offer for me. Now, I'd go to AC Milan. What do you think the Inter Ultras are going to be thinking about you then? Seriously? What is going on with this man? I mean, it really, I'm asking this question, but most of us already know the answer. But it has to be addressed. And this is why I'm going to make the comparisons in respect to the other players involved.
Well, another thing I wanted to say is because he's 29, that's the difference. So when we talk about confidence and all of that, players like this, usually once they start going on a downturn, they don't usually come back. But when you go down to a downturn to this degree, you come back a little bit, but you're never the same as you were during your peak in your 28, 27, where your confidence was sky high. Usually not at the same club. Usually you have to move, find something different or whatever. So that's my only thing. Like, yes, can he improve? Yes. Will he ever be the guy that we bought or that we wanted? I don't think so. And in that case, you might as well get rid of him now rather than trying to sell him when he's 31 or 32, or you've paid him 300k for 3 years in a row.
And this is why I haven't brought up other stats. This is why I've only brought the stats of this season for all of these players that we're going to be talking about, because we're talking about current form. Like Podfather said, Romelu Lukaku is not a bad player. No one is saying he's a bad player. His record, his stats over his career tell you that this is a top striker. However, for whatever reason, at Chelsea Football Club, the man is a flop. The man is a flop because he is unable to perform under the system, under the badge, under the number 9, under whatever reason. The grass is too wet. I don't know, but he ain't performing at Chelsea Football Club. And what Podfather said, I agree with him 100%. This man wants to feel like he is the man. He wants to feed off the energy and the prestige of the players around him, feeding him, passing him the ball, and giving him the opportunities. Right now, he hasn't done enough to earn the respect of his teammates, and this is why on that pitch he isn't being fed. He isn't being fed because he hasn't earned the respect of the players. I remember Pulisic's goal against Real Madrid last season when he had to go around a couple of players to take that shot when Timo Werner was open, but he did not pass that ball to Timo Werner because he knows Timo Werner would have probably skied it or missed the target. So Pulisic had to do a couple of things before he smashed that ball in the back of the net. And this is what's happening with Lukaku right now. The players don't trust passing him that ball. He's making the runs, but it's not happening for him. And he is as much to blame as the system, as his teammates, as Tuchel, as whatever. It's on him as well as... Now, if you're going to blame anyone else, you got to blame him as well. Let me go to Boogeyman. Boogeyman, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Pretty much the others have said everything about it. Lukaku has lost total belief in his own game. You can just see it on the field. Of course, it was Jose Mourinho that diagnosed Lukaku that he loved to be praised. He loved to be the man of the team. He loved to be the center of all the fun, energy, and all those things. If you want Lukaku to succeed, that has to be, you have to put it there, or it's difficult for him to even have any belief in himself if the fan are not behind me 100%. Knowing that, again, someone asked, why do we even get it? Knowing that Chelsea is a club where the demand is pretty high. When you don't perform, everybody knows. It's just you cannot hide. Uh, I don't understand why Lukaku was bought for Tuchel, a system that everybody has to defend, everybody has to attack. Every time Tuchel did his press conference, he said, if we score, it's because of the 11th player on the field. If we concede, it's because of the 11th player on the field. And Lukaku does not run around. Lukaku, um, I don't know. I'm not gonna say he doesn't show patience, but uh, Lukaku has um, difficulty running into gaps between defenders. Lukaku has difficulty demanding the ball. He doesn't move too much. Every time Lukaku is demanding the ball, or the 40 something supporter or fan in the stadium know Lukaku is asking for ball. So all the defender also know exactly when Lukaku. It's not because he's running to one space so someone can find it. No, Lukaku will be pointing at the ball here, so everybody see it. How are you going to surprise any defender? He has no belief in himself. So the question is Lukaku ever going to be good for Chelsea? Me, I will go that far to say no. Is never going to be good for Chelsea. The fact is he's gained weight. He's not physically right now in a good condition even to play for EPL, to even succeed at Chelsea. So he's 28. He came back to Chelsea fit. Let's just say at least the entire condition, the physical condition he was against Arsenal and against Aston Villa. Right now, when Lukaku was walking off the pitch, that's when you look at his limbs, his legs, and you know, oh, this guy has gained a lot of weight or muscle, whatever he wants to call it. You can't play in Tuchel's system being heavy. That's just a fact. So are we ever going to see a better Lukaku or anything close to what we see if we saw against Arsenal? I don't think so. So he is a flop. Anybody that's thinking that maybe next season he's not he's done. We need to get him out of the team for me. He need to move on. Thanks for your service. Thanks for slow us down. And now time to go. We have enough. We've seen enough of Lukaku at this point.
I just want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, sorry.
Sorry, Boogeyman. I just want to say something. I mean, there's people in the chat who are talking about Tammy Abraham, Kai Havertz, and Broja. We're going to cover all of these players. So, sit tight. We're going to talk about Kai Havertz. We're going to talk about Tammy Abraham. We're going to talk about Broja. We're going to show you their stats. And we're going to talk about the strikers in general. And then we're going to go into specifics. Money, scouting. We're going to be here for quite a while tonight. So, make sure you guys get a drink, get a snack, and sit back and enjoy the stream. I also saw a comment by Nick Blue, saying that we are Lukaku haters. Nick, go back and watch some of my early streams, some of my early videos, some of my early combination videos. I was one of the biggest fans, one of the biggest advocates of Lukaku coming in to Chelsea Football Club, as was Max Burton here on the panel, as was Eric Blue here on the panel. There's 3 panelists here, okay, that were, really excited about the arrival of Romelu Lukaku. I'm not sure what Podfather and Chris's position were at the time, but I tell you, Eric Blue and myself and Max Burton
Can I just tell you my position on quickly?
Let me finish. Let me finish. We supported, we backed, and we pushed hard against anyone who wasn't happy with this transaction. Specifically, Boogeyman. Specifically, Bobby Smoker Signals. And others who were not happy with the arrival of Romelu Lukaku. Now, again, me, Eric, Max would have rather have seen Erling Haaland come in, but that didn't happen. Now, even Bobby, even Boogie supported Romelu Lukaku when he first came to the club, even though they were not happy with this transaction. Again, Julius, another name. Even though they were not happy with this transaction, they supported him. Today, we are unified in our opinion when it comes to his underachievement at Chelsea Football Club. And we are not saying this because we hate the player. On the contrary, we all wanted to see him succeed, but he hasn't succeeded. And this is why we are talking about this topic. Not because we have anything personal against the man. On the contrary, we wish him all the success in the world. But it's not happening. So I just wanted to address that comment by Nick Blue. Boogie, do you have anything else to add before I move to Eric?
No, the topic is Lukaku. Like, no, nothing Tuchel, right?
Later, we'll come to that later. All right, cool. Chris, before I go to Eric, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the thing because you said you didn't know my position or Pod's position on him. Look, I'm just going to make it quick. Look, I wanted Lukaku at Chelsea. I wanted the guy. Based on his form at Inter, I seen, yes, this guy's finally, he's a goal machine. He scores goals, and that's what we needed. I wanted to see him do well. I wanted him to succeed. And when he came in and started off well, which he did, I was all for supporting him. But as soon as he throws every Chelsea supporter under the bus, Tuchel, the club, his teammates, that's when my support for him went out the window. All right. So I think Nick Blue, it's a cheek for you to say we're the Lukaku haters. We wanted him to do well in a Chelsea shot. We want all players that are not performing to do well in a Chelsea shot. So you've got a cheek to call anyone Lukaku haters, mate.
All right. Eric Blue, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm still recovering. No, it's not too bad. I think I've just about gotten over the disappointment from the loss. Yeah, Lukaku. As you said, I was a big supporter of him. There were better options, but I don't want to make this too one-sided.
One second. Eric, I'm gonna put the mic on mute and the camera off because I'm gonna go to the fridge and I'm gonna try to get some water. So wish me luck. Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I wasn't fully convinced with Lukaku. I remember people were saying he was world class. He's a top 5 striker in the world. I wasn't fully convinced, and I was hoping that maybe he can actually prove that he's world class. Coming to a big team like Chelsea and actually turning up and performing and producing results. But obviously, that's not what happened. I didn't think he was world class when we signed him. I thought he was way too expensive. 100 million, 97 million is way too much money for any player. At least most players. You wouldn't want to buy any player for that much money, unless maybe it's like Messi or somebody like this. So he was way too, it was overpriced. I think 50 million would have been, maybe like 60 million would have been more fair for a player like him. I think that I don't want to make it, like I said, I don't want to make it one-sided because let's not pretend like, everything was set up for this striker to just, it's not as if everything was perfectly aligned for him to succeed at Chelsea. But the thing about a club like Chelsea is you have to perform. You have to show the fans why they should support you. You have to give them a reason to back you. Someone like Timo Werner, even me, who is maybe his biggest critic, I'm not. I'm in a position where I can't be as critical as I would have been because he's actually producing. Because for me, it's not even just about you work hard, you run hard, you show the effort, but you actually have to have the quality as well. This is Chelsea Football Club, so Werner has been doing that recently. And for the fact that he hasn't been playing so many games this season, he's actually turning up, and he's had a better season than Lukaku this season. It's just a fact. So for me, even if we saw the Lukaku of Inter, I don't know if that would have been enough for me to say that it was a successful signing. That's the truth. So he may still have been a flop, even if we saw the Lukaku from Inter, because this team is not really set up for the kind of player Lukaku is. But at the same time, when you're not even doing the bare minimum, when you're coming off the pitch and you seem like you're happy to just, I've done my bit, I can go back on the bench now, and when you're playing and it's like we're playing with 10 men, you have zero influence on the game. You're just happy to pass the ball, do a few moves here and there, link up, but not actually having an effect on the game. Then that's just a huge red flag, especially when you spend so much money. But for me, it's easy to focus on Lukaku. For me, this is Lukaku's fault because he should have stayed at Inter. He should have understood that he had a good thing going, and he should have just stayed there and not even try to entertain this idea that he needs to prove something to people. In my opinion, because he was probably a top five striker at
Yeah, but
Inter.
Eric, he was getting offered a lot more money. That's why he went.
Chris, let Eric finish.
Yeah, I mean, yes, okay, fair enough. The money was a huge factor for it, but sometimes in football, you have to be, you have to try and make smart decisions because, like Mo was saying not too long ago, he's now in a position where he's happy to go to Milan. That doesn't make any sense. Milan won't pay him what Chelsea's paying him. Milan might pay him less than what Inter were ever going to offer him. So it's a situation where he just didn't plan the thing properly for himself. He didn't think about his future in the best way, and it's just sad for me. It's more of an indictment on whoever gave the green light on Lukaku than anything else, because it's easy to blame Lukaku for not being good enough, and yes, he has huge blame. Maybe like 70-80% is his fault, especially with the interview. But who decided to go for Lukaku and who decided to sign him? So these are the people that we need to hold accountable. We can't spend.
We will talk about the scouting, the transfer system, and also the wages. We're going to be discussing.
Just
in a second. Yeah.
Just to quickly round up.
Eric, I don't want you to round up because I want you to lead us into the next segment. So the next segment is going to be should we have sold Tammy Abraham, and had we have kept Tammy Abraham, would he have been a better striker than Romelu Lukaku? Now this is the second segment, or the second player we're going to be addressing, and I want you to lead us into that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you something that I didn't show earlier because I want to make the comparison as follows. So I'm going to share the screen here. This is Romelu Lukaku. Now, I said we're not going to look at last season when we discuss him being good enough or not. But I am going to look at last season because we're now going to be talking about Tammy Abraham. And I want to look at Tammy Abraham as he is in the Serie A, and Romelu Lukaku came from the Serie A. So Romelu Lukaku, as we see, this season, 12 goals in all competitions and 5 goals in the Premier League. Romelu Lukaku last season in Inter Milan, his figures are the reason why we paid 10 million for him. 36 games in Serie A, 34 goal contributions, 10 assists, 24 goals. 44 games last season with 30 goals and 10 assists across the board. So that's what Romelu Lukaku was doing at Inter Milan last season, and that's why we bought him for that price. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go and look at Tammy Abraham. Now, before we look at what Tammy Abraham is doing right now in Roma, this is what Tammy Abraham's season looked like at Chelsea Football Club before he left to Serie A. Tammy Abraham had 22. Now, remember, Tuchel didn't fancy Tammy Abraham. So when he came in and took over, he didn't really give him the game time that Lampard was giving him in the past. So Tammy Abraham last season, 22 Premier League games, 6 goals, 2 assists. So based on that, he's already better than Lukaku in regards to the Premier League. However, when it comes to overall, 32 games, 12 goals, 6 assists. So numbers are similar to what Romelu Lukaku is hitting right now in the Premier League. Tammy Abraham, his last season in the Premier League, half of it under Lampard, half of it under Tuchel, recorded similar figures to what Lukaku is recording now at Chelsea Football Club. However, if we look at Tammy Abraham's season so far this year, he's played 32 games in the Serie A, 15 goals, 4 assists. He's had 8 goals in the Conference League from 10 games, but it's the Conference League. And he's had 1 goal, 1 assist in the Italian Cup from 2 games. So all in all, he's had 24 goals, 5 assists in 45 appearances for Roma. His figures for the Serie A is quite good for his first season. Could he do better? Possibly. Will he do better? Probably. But are these figures comparable to what he would have done in the Premier League? And would that have made him a better option to keep than Romelu Lukaku or not? Yeah. This is what I want you guys to address. And we're going to kick it off with Eric. And Eric, keep in mind that the figures that Romelu Lukaku is setting right now are similar to what Tammy Abraham was setting. Tammy Abraham was one of our own academy lads. We did not pay 100 million for him. When we sold him, we got 40 million for him, thereabouts. So in hindsight, should we have sold Tammy Abraham or not? You start off.
Right. This is a huge one. This is the biggest issue I've had with Tuchel. I think I've been very open with my opinions about how Tuchel treated Tammy Abraham. I think he didn't treat a single player more unfairly than Tammy Abraham, in my opinion. And yes, everybody can say he's not good enough. He was never good enough to start for Chelsea. I understand. I get it. But at the same time, he didn't treat him in the best way. I remember people not even talking about how Werner was given all the opportunities you can imagine. Chance after chance after chance. You just kept playing Werner because Werner cost money, right? Because Werner cost the club money and they want a return on their investments. But Tammy Abraham, who I believe was better than Werner, barely got chances under Lampard in the second season. And then Tuchel comes in and Tuchel doesn't rate Tammy at all. Barely plays him. He gets injured against Newcastle and that's it. He just becomes a bench player from there, barely gets involved, barely plays. And it was just very obvious that Tuchel didn't like Tammy Abraham for whatever reason. And I mean as a player, I'm not talking about personally. He just didn't rate Tammy Abraham. He just didn't. It's just the truth. Whether you say that's right or wrong, that's a different argument. But for me, Tammy wasn't treated in the best way. And I believe that it's not too dissimilar with Lukaku in the sense that he probably didn't want Lukaku either. At this point, I have to... sadly, I have to say, I think, people who said Tuchel didn't want Lukaku were right. I think they were right. Because we saw how many games he played since the interview, and especially since the whole situation with Roman, we saw how many games Lukaku played. And it's easy to say, oh yeah, he was injured, this, that, the other. He's not fully fit. Those for me just sound like excuses. You're just giving reasons. There must always be some kind of reason why Lukaku isn't playing. So for me, it's a case where Tuchel was almost forced to play Lukaku and try and force him into the team, force it to work somehow, because he costs so much money and he's not in the position to say, no, you cost 100 million, yes, but I'll keep you on the bench because I don't really rate you. That's what it looked like to me. So I'm not going to say that, Tuchel rated Tammy. Tuchel didn't rate Tammy, but then now he rates Lukaku. But then look how bad Lukaku is. What's wrong with Tuchel? No, I think it was similar with both of them. So it's just a very funny situation. For me, obviously, Tammy should never have left, but then he wanted to be a starter. In his mind, he's good enough to start games, but the truth is he wasn't good enough to start for Chelsea. So for me, it was right that he left.
Tammy Abraham to Tuchel was for Kyle Tomori to Lampard, correct?
No.
No?
Not okay, maybe towards the end, fair, but not initially, because don't forget, Lampard wanted
the outcome.
Yes, of course. The outcome, yes. In the end, even though we still don't know exactly what happened, we don't really, it's quite mysterious, but yes, I think towards the end, Lampard treated Tomori very similar way to the way Tuchel treated Tammy. I think it's very clear. And I will still have, till this day, that is my biggest concern with Tuchel. Tuchel never treated Tammy right. He just didn't. People want to talk about how Kepa is not being treated well. What about how Tammy was treated last season? He treated Tammy very poorly. I mean, even Gilmore, who, played a little bit more than, well, actually, no, he didn't. He barely played because Kovacic and Jorginho were involved most of the time. Even somebody like Gilmore, who he praised. I remember his first press conference, he was asked about Gilmore. He gave him a lot of compliments. He's good on the ball. He's very, tactical. He's aware, blah, blah, blah. But then he says he's small. For me, Tuchel doesn't rate Gilmore either because he's too small. He doesn't fit the profile that he wants. That's why he plays Loftus-Cheek there. So it just is what it is. Sometimes the manager just has a preference and you just have to go with it. That's just how it works sometimes. But it's very clear to me, Tammy should never have left. And we wasted £100 million on a flop who has to leave.
All right. I want to bring in Podfather because Podfather specifically asked for the Tammy Abraham topic. So let me hear Podfather.
I thought this was one that would definitely spark debate, and glad to see it has. I know we have varying opinions here on the panel. I know there are a couple of people, Boogeyman especially, doesn't rate Tammy. Doesn't rate Syria. Which is funny because people say, "Oh, this particular league or that particular league," but you hear all sorts of Chelsea fans say, "Oh, we should have sold Tomori. Look what he's doing in AC Milan." What about what Tammy's doing in Roma? Doesn't that get the same esteem? No. Well, it's Italian league, but you want to bring Tomori back, but you don't want to bring Tammy Abraham. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, the thing about Tammy as well, we have to remember his first season for Chelsea, where he's Chelsea's top scorer and scores. So he's shown he can score goals in the Premier League. First of all, no, that shouldn't be in dispute. In a worse team than what we have now. Yeah, that's when we had the transfer ban and all
we're talking about 19-20 season, right?
Yes, 18-19.
18-19.
Oh wait, is it 19-20? Sorry, 19-20 season. Yes.
Let me have a look at 18-19 because I think 18-19.
Aston Villa.
18-19 was Sarri.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the Lampard season. It's the 19-20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he scores 15 goals, I believe, no penalties. Yes, you always have to remember that a lot of the other top players or strikers or goal scorers in leagues take penalties, whether it's Salah, Kane, Ronaldo, and they tend to get like 4, 5, 6 penalties a season, which takes them above 20. He didn't take penalties. Jorginho took all the penalties, so he was our top scorer then. Yeah, then and he picks up an injury, I think about probably end of February, early March. And that really hampered him, and he didn't really recover his form for the rest of the season. So his goals pretty much dried up from then on. So a lot of goals were in the first 4 or 5 months of the season. Then we go to the next season where Werner comes in. He's the preferred striker. Tammy's on the bench. Tammy doesn't start playing until we get into the League Cup, and then he's like he develops like a partnership with Havertz. Then he slowly gets his place back in the team. I can't remember the game at home. I think it was even Brentford, and we beat them like 6-1 or something like that. Havertz scored a hat trick in the League Cup, and then he slowly gets back into the team, scores a couple of goals, to the point when Tuchel comes, who's our top goal scorer again? It's Tammy. It's not Werner, it's not Havertz, it's not any of the guys. It's Tammy. Then I think he picks up a couple of he doesn't play, and then he picks up a couple of injuries and hardly plays for the rest of the season. Comes on, I think maybe had like 1 or 2 starts max for the whole rest of the season. He's coming on for 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here. He misses that header against West Ham. The whole fan base is going crazy. This guy's terrible. How can you be like 6'5" and you can't win headers? You can't hold the ball up. You can't this. You can't do that. And yet he's probably still our top goal scorer in terms of forwards at the time. I think eventually Jorginho ends up becoming the top goal scorer for that season. Then he goes to Roma, and everybody's comparing his numbers to Lukaku. You have to remember he's playing for a much worse team. Roma, a much worse team than Inter. Inter was stacked with all sorts of players. Yeah, I mean, Antonio Conte at his finest. Strikers, form. The big team in Italy. They're not languishing in 5th and 6th or wherever. They're challenging for the title straight away. They don't win it. They come close. The next year, buy even more players and go again. And Lukaku has 2 great back-to-back seasons. So even with Roma, he has similar numbers to Lukaku, who played in a much better team. And their season is not over. So we'll see what his stats are come the end of the season. I just look at it like this, yeah. If in hindsight, obviously hindsight is a beautiful thing. Nobody predicted that Lukaku would be this bad, but I think it's clear that if you give me Lukaku and Tammy Abraham and Giroud, we have a better team than what we have now. Like, I don't think that's in dispute. Those 2 guys would have got goals, whether they play well or the team gels or doesn't gel or whatever. Giroud will get his goals. He'll get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goals this season. Same thing with Tammy. If he's played regularly. Did he need to go for his development and the coach, him not being the coach type of player? Probably for his career, yeah, he made the best decision. And we needed money as a club. But the thing is this. For the people that say, okay, Tammy didn't want him, that's why he was sold. Then we should never speak about Salah, De Bruyne, all those guys again, because guess what? Jose didn't like them either, and they were gone. But all I hear is Chelsea fans say, oh, we should never have sold these guys. We see these guys for Liverpool or Man City, which they kept them in the team. Sometimes the manager doesn't get to decide to sell your young player. You might just say, you know what, you have to work with him. We see potential in this guy. He was our top scorer 2 seasons ago and last year, whatever. Make it work. In terms of Lukaku, people saying Lukaku, I think I heard Eric saying that Lukaku is not Tuchel's signing. That's football these days. How many teams in the world does the manager get to sign every single player and decide on every single player? It doesn't happen. Probably Pep is probably the only guy that I know in world football that controls every signing that comes into his club.
No, but sorry to cut you off, but for that kind of money, that's a lot of cash, man. That's a lot of money.
No, I hear you, but this is the same club that signed Shevchenko and Ballack when Mourinho didn't want them. Yeah, I mean, or Torres when Ancelotti didn't want him, or I mean, like the list goes on. Like once the club has had like a long-term target, or they see that this is their guy, and the thing is the managers are aware of it. That's why they don't complain, because it's the same everywhere. At PSG, he didn't get to decide every single player he wants. You give them your list, and they'll be like, listen. Either they agree with who's on your list, or they'll be like, this is the closest player we can get to it. Are you fine with it? And when they say, are you fine with it, they don't really want to know you. They don't really want your true opinion. They want you to just nod your head and say yes. Yeah, because I think Jurgen Klopp, when he got to Liverpool, he had a whole list of players they wanted to buy. And they say, no, we're going to go with Salah because his numbers make sense. He didn't want Salah. But guess what? He built a system and he got the best out of the guy, and nobody's complaining about that signing anymore. So sometimes I think that's just the way modern football is. The manager doesn't get to decide every single player that comes in. So whether it was his signing or not his signing, I'm not really bothered. My thing is, before, obviously for Tuchel, I want him to have as many of his signings or as many signings as possible. I don't need them to all be his signings because for the two years he's been here, a year and a half, I haven't had one report that's saying, "Oh, this is Tuchel's player that he wanted." That's not a club target. I haven't seen any player that we've been linked with that was specifically from him the whole time. Every player we've been linked with has been like club targets or people that we followed for years. So,
all right. Yeah. Look, we're gonna hear the rest of the panel position on Tammy. Then we're gonna address Kai Havertz and Armando Broja. Before we look at the wage structure at Chelsea Football Club in comparison with Liverpool, because let's be honest, they are the team we're competing with right now. They are the team ahead of us. So we're gonna compare them, and I'm gonna leave Podfather to take the lead on that part as well. And then we're gonna talk about the structure at our clubs. Why are we buying these players? Why are we signing these players? And who's doing it? Who's buying these players? And I saw a question in the chat by let me just find it, by Roy Stone. He's saying, what type of striker does Tuchel want? And that's a very good question. That is the question that we need to address as a club, because once we know what he wants, we can go out there and get what he wants rather than what we think he wants. So that is a question the club needs to ask him. Good question, my son. Let me go to Boogeyman. Boogeyman, we've talked, me, you, and Podfather, off screen in respect to the Serie A, what the level of football there is there and how it compares to the Premier League. Now, obviously, Romelu Lukaku played better in the Serie A. Obviously, Tammy Abraham is playing better in the Serie A. It's clear that there is a big gap between the level of the Serie A and the Premier League. But does that mean that Tammy Abraham is not really that much better an option had he have stayed? Or does it mean that had he have stayed, he would have been a more risk-free debutant to a potentially better striker purchased from within the Premier League, or maybe waiting for Haaland to come in this season had we have not spent that money on Lukaku last season? Give me your thoughts.
I think the major factor is the way Tuchel's system functions. Tuchel's system does not function with a target man. Tammy Abraham is a target man with a lot of ability. He can control the ball. Actually, he can dribble, and something Lukaku cannot do. He can jump. He's good. Jumping, his leap is really good. He can head the ball properly. Something Lukaku cannot do because man is too heavy. Like I said, look, Tammy is a target man, and Tuchel, Tuchel like runners, you're technical. You don't have a fixed position. You just switch position as long as you can play any position in those three frontline positions. You are a Tuchel striker. That's why Havertz work hard. That's why Tuchel love Mount and Werner. It is as simple as that. Problem with in the Tuchel system, because those kids spend their time running around, nobody stay in the box. So Tuchel need to find a solution to how Klopp managed to find a solution with Mane, Salah, and Firmino. The both wingers just score like crazy. He need to find people that can do the same thing, and that's it. When it comes to Tammy, Tammy and Lukaku, their stats are pretty close to the same. I mean, if you ask me who do you pick between Tammy and Lukaku right now, even at the beginning of the season, I will pick Tammy. I will close my eyes and pick Tammy. Even before we signed Lukaku, Inter Milan Lukaku, Chelsea, Frank Lampard, Tammy. I'll close my eyes. I will pick Tammy directly because that's exactly what I did before we received Lukaku, before Lukaku transfer. So even today, I'm still convinced I will pick Tammy because not only Tammy is a target man which does not suit Tuchel's system, but he can actually control the ball. He can do a lot of stuff that Lukaku can't, in my humble opinion. So
Boogie,
I'm
I
not.
just want to interrupt you for 1 second. I want to address this comment by Limitless. I am not advocating for us to go and buy Tammy Abraham, to buy him back. I mean, I don't think we can buy him back until next season. I think 2023 is when we are able to buy him back. I am not saying we should go buy him back. I am purely trying to highlight the mistake that we did in selling him. Because I believe selling Tammy Abraham to bring in Romelu Lukaku was a big misjudgment on our behalf. The key point I'm trying to make here is this. What we sold for 40 million and bought for 100 million was probably a better player that we sold than probably. If not, then they're the same. If not, then they're the same. At least Tammy Abraham would not have cost us that chunk of money, and at least he was already adapted in the playing style of the Chelsea Football Club. So that is the point I'm trying to make. And yeah, hindsight, exactly. Sorry, Boogie.
Yeah, so if the question is, do we want Tammy to come back? I don't think Tammy is ready for Chelsea. I think we should let Tammy in Serie A for another year or a year and a half. Just let him confirm what he did this season or double the stats. If he can double the stat or confirm whatever he did this season, then we can actually think about bringing him back. Lukaku has to go, but it doesn't mean there's a position for Tammy because I just don't think Tammy so Tuchel's system. He has to do way more. Those run, those those chasing, those pressure. He has to do more. He has to be at least do 70% of what Mount does. Has to be as technical gifted, at least 70% technical gifted as a Kai, and he has to be just a a headless chicken run guy like a Werner. Can he? I don't think so. Because I've remember Tammy is always trying to be around the box and all those things. No, Tuchel does not need someone like that. So I don't think Tammy is a solution, but at the end of the day, he is still better than Lukaku in all options. If anything you put around, I would pick Tammy eventually.
All right. I'm gonna leave Max last on this. I'll go to Chris. Chris, give me your thoughts on Tammy.
Okay, first of all, before I talk about his season at Roma, there's two key points that I'm surprised no one's actually made. One of all, it wasn't just... there's two English clubs that he could have done well with. One's Chelsea, and there's one he actually done well with, in Aston Villa, in the Championship. Done very, very well for them. And people can slag off the Championship all they want, but it's one of the most difficult leagues in the world. And the fact is, clubs get relegated and never bounce back up. And he performed in the Championship very, very well, and the numbers are very impressive for a player of his age at that time, and he performed for Aston Villa. So very, very well there. And another one, if I'm not mistaken, I seen on Twitter, does he not have a release clause that comes into effect in 2023 where Chelsea can get him back?
Buyback, yeah.
Yes. So
buyback, yeah.
We'll see what he does. So talking about him at Roma, good signing. To answer the question first, Mo, mate, you asked in hindsight, was that a mistake? Well, yes, it was a mistake. But in that moment of time, I was all for Tammy leaving because, as I said, talking about the Lukaku point, I thought, yes, we're getting a goal scorer in Lukaku that will push us on and score the goals that we need. So what a signing for Roma. He basically carried Roma this season under the help of Mourinho, and he's got them, I think, the 5th or 6th. They're doing well. They're doing well for a team like Roma, who have been kind of underachieving in the last recent years. But Mo, can you do me a favour? I know you done Lukaku's second season where he won the Scudetto. Can you show me Lukaku's first season when he joined Inter?
I'll bring it up. Give me a second. I'll bring it up. So I actually closed the window. Let me find it again. Carry on. Yeah.
Right, second.
Carry on. I'll bring it up.
Yeah, because I just want to compare the first seasons with playing in Serie A. But overall, he's done very, very well. And yeah, I don't know about Tuchel and his cheating.
So are you talking about Lukaku?
Yeah. I just want to see Lukaku's first season when he joined Inter.
We're talking about Tammy. We're talking about Tammy.
Yeah, I know, but I just want to compare the two first seasons in the Serie A.
All right, go on. All right.
Yeah. So great signing for Roma, and he's carried them. And it would have been good to see how he would have done, but at the time when Lukaku comes in, it was I thought it was the best decision. And hindsight always comes into it, and it's obviously a mistake. And another mistake, people can slag off the Serie A. It's one of the most competitive leagues. People were thinking about the 90s and the early 2000s of the Serie A. It's not the same league, but it's still a competitive league. It's more of a competitive league than the French league and the Bundesliga. And for Kyle Tamori, he could win the Scudetto. And I would love for Tamori to be in this team. So people can slag off Serie A all they want, but okay, so Lukaku's first season in the Serie A, 36 games, 23 goals. Okay, so the remaining season, Tammy Abraham could reach that. I know it's slim. He could reach. He's on 15 at the moment. He could reach 20. He could reach 20 if he's getting the opportunities. So the first seasons can be comparable. So yeah, I'm proud of Tammy. Proud of Tammy at Roma. I'm proud of what he's done. I'm proud of the goals he's scored, and he's proven a lot of people wrong. It'll be interesting to see how he does next season. Will he move? If another club comes in for him, will he move? I don't know. But based on this season at Roma, and based on the season that Lukaku's having, there's no comparison. It's a no-brainer. Tammy Abraham, and even Giroud. I know Pod mentioned Giroud. Given the chances that Lukaku's had, Giroud makes effort, and Giroud's a finisher. And AC Milan, he could also win a Scudetto. So there's Fikayo Tamori, Giroud could win a Scudetto, we let them go for nothing, basically. And then Tammy Abraham's thriving at Roma. So the Serie A is a good league. So I don't understand the hate the Serie A gets. So that's my thoughts on Tammy. Doing very, very well, and I hope it continues.
All right. Cheers, Chris. Nikhil Patel, thank you very much for the super sticker. Much appreciated, my brother. We will keep it up. Thank you very much. Max Burton, what's your thoughts on Tammy? Was that a mistake?
No, it wasn't a mistake. The grass is always greener on the other side. So, and we have, as a fan base, we always, when someone goes, we always moan about it. Why did we let him go? The reason we let him go is because Thomas Tuchel didn't rate him, didn't play him. He vetoed it to go. So vetoed him to go. So he was okay with him going, and he left. So. And it's quite, the numbers that you've given for him and Lukaku are similar. And that says to me that he probably will be having similar numbers over here if he remained, because it's about styles, as Boogeyman quite rightly said, it's about styles. We don't. This after Thomas Tuchel's. The game's changed now. If you look at even Liverpool don't play with a pure number 9. Man City haven't even got a striker. Even Tottenham now, Harry Kane, he's changed his position. He's not a target man anymore. If you look at Harry Kane, he drops deep and plays this game. We need to get away from having a target man for in that team. That's why Kai Havertz, we're going to talk about later. That's why he throws. I won't go into Kai because we're going to mention him later. But and it's not about comparing leagues as well. It's comparing the way teams set up against you in the different leagues. Okay, people say he's in the Serie A. I mean, we're not going to, but in Chelsea, you need somebody who's got close control, who could be. We are always faced against teams who play low block against us. Okay, so in Serie A, they may not play that low block. Even when they're playing the likes of AC and Inter, they will have a go sometimes, and because. If you look at Romelu Lukaku, a lot of his goals were on the counter attack. He's Inter Milan are where a counter attack inside. Roma, if you look at the way that Marino plays, he likes to play on the counter as well. So he's not like a high pressing manager. Unless he's changed his style. I haven't seen a lot of Roma this. I've seen a few Roma matches this season. But,
they play counter-attack football.
Yeah, they're counter-attack. Yeah, I've seen a few, and they're more on the counter. And there's Tammy he's got a bit of pace and movement, so he likes to run. He likes to run into the spaces and things like that. So at Chelsea, it's different. If you saw him at Chelsea, he was frustrating at Chelsea because I always called him the a second too late person because he's always a second too late for the crosses. And
sorry, Max. I used to say he was lagging all the time. Because he was his internet connection wasn't quite there. Max, I'm with you on everything you're saying. I agree with you. However, there is an issue here. For me, Tammy Abraham and Romelu Lukaku are very similar in regards to numbers when it comes to Chelsea. And again, I agree with Chris when he said that Tammy Abraham could potentially reach the same numbers as Romelu Lukaku did in his first season. Potentially. He might be a couple of goals lower. I mean, considering Tammy's playing for Roma, Lukaku played for Inter, different teams, different kind of players. But again, I believe that Tammy Abraham's performances for Chelsea would have been the same as Romelu Lukaku in respect to outputs. In respect to playing style or whatever, no, they're different. But in respect to output, would have been very similar. And the point is this: we did not need to spend 100 million to buy Romelu Lukaku, and the 40 million that we got for Tammy Abraham didn't really do all that much for us. Therefore, in hindsight, selling him for me was a mistake when you buy Romelu Lukaku. If you want to sell him and buy somebody else who is going to give you better figures, fantastic decision. But to sell him and buy Romelu Lukaku, this is where it becomes a bad decision. So just to clarify.
Yeah, agreed. The mistake wasn't to sell him. The mistake was who we replaced him with, basically. But as I said, with Tammy, he wasn't going to play under Tuchel anyway, so we had to. It was obvious that Tuchel wasn't going to play him, so we had to get rid. What I did like about Tammy, because he's a Chelsea through and through. He was brought up in Chelsea, and he's one of those guys. If we had Tammy on our side, we'd have more penalties. Definitely. The reason why I say that is because I think at least 3 penalties that went to VAR. When he was here was because he was berating the referee. We don't have that. The game against Southampton. I mean, it's not Brighton when we should have had that penalty. I guarantee you, if Tammy was on that pitch, that would have been referred to VAR. He would have been in that referee's ear. He would have been screaming at him, and they'd have had a look at it, and they'd have spotted that handball, and that he was passionate about the club. But I still think, would he have been the side he could take us to win the Premier League? Would he have been a number 9 he could do that? I don't think so. I think there are better ones out there who can lead our line. And I just want to answer Chris on what he said about the Championship. I disagree with you there, Chris, in that what you're saying about there's not a lot between the Championship and the Premier League. I just want to give you one name, Mitrovic. Mitrovic has scored nearly 40 goals. I think he's on 40 goals in the Championship. When he moved up to the Premier League, he hardly scored any goals. The season before, when he was in the Championship, he scored 28, 30 goals. So there is a gulf between.
Can I just reply to that, Max? No.
Chris. When it's your turn to speak, you can reply to Max. Let him finish.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
we'll all get time.
There is a difference. You can see that with Ivan Toney as well. There's many names I can name. That's why most people, if a striker takes you up into the Premier League, they'll usually go out and replace you with another striker once they get promoted.
All right, Max, I want you to kick us off on the next segment. And I'm going to do this for the next couple of players. So whenever the last person to speak, he'll be the first person to speak when it comes to the next player. So we've addressed Tammy. I'm gonna leave Armando Broja to the end, and I'm gonna address Kai Havertz. Now, let me bring up his stats first before we talk about Kai Havertz. This should be Kai Havertz. Okay, this is Kai Havertz. His stats for this season. So Kai Havertz has had 23 appearances in the Prem, 7 goals, 3 assists. Champions League, 9 appearances, 3 goals. FA Cup, 3 appearances, 1 assist. Carabao Cup, 3 appearances, 2 goals. World Club Cup, 2 appearances, 1 goal, penalty. Super Cup, 1 appearance. So 7 goals in the Premier League, 13 goals scored in 41 appearances, 5 assists. So that's 18 goal contribution in 41 appearances. Now, he's been playing as a striker for, let me get the Premier League. He's been playing as a striker for the last few games. So if we look at Kai Havertz, his goals in the Premier League have all come recently. So you got against Burnley 2, against Norwich 1, Newcastle 1, Southampton 1 assist against Norwich. So that's 5 goals, 1 assist in the last batch of games. Prior to that, he hasn't really. He's been sporadic. Assist, goal.
I think he scored against Liverpool, didn't he, as well?
Liverpool 1
earlier
goal.
on in the season.
There you go. So when he has played as a striker, so these numbers are a little bit skewed because these 23 games and 7 assists, 7 goals, he's not really been playing as the striker. I mean, some of these games he's been playing out wide. Some of these games he's played behind the striker in an attacking role. And some of these games he did play as a striker. So some of these earlier games he did play as a striker. But when he was made, when he was given the accountability of a striker, he's got goals. So the man can score. He can play as a striker. And you can see here, centre forward. Whenever he's played as a centre forward, he's been within the goals. Attacking midfielder, not so much. So,
could we bring up last season as well on that one?
Last season,
he played a lot of games of the false 9 last season. Didn't he?
Let's look at last season. No problem.
Just want to say, Mo, remember if you look at his Germany numbers, he had 18 goals for Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, and the difference with that season and the last 2 seasons here is he took the penalties there. People don't understand, like, penalties for a striker is a big deal. Like, that you get 5, 6, 7 extra goals up on your tally just based off penalties alone. So if he took all the penalties for Chelsea that Jorginho has taken, then he's almost close to 20 goals by now. So it makes a big difference.
Penalties play a factor. Max, 27 starts in the Premier League, 4 goals, 5 assists. Champions League, 12, 1 goal, and we all know what goal that was. And 2 assists. FA Cup, 5 and 1. Carabao Cup. So 9 goals, 8 assists last season. So numbers-wise, were low. But if we look at last season, most of them were centre forward, attacking, wing, right mid, left wing, centre forward. So centre forward, I mean, you can probably count them on one hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games as centre forward last season. Oh, sorry, that's the Champions League. My bad.
I know
I thought he
Max.
played more. I thought he played more than that.
That was the Champions League. I
Yeah.
apologize. It wasn't the Premier League. This is the Premier League. So Premier League centre
Well, I
forward
think when Tuchel started, he was pretty
2,
much
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 games as centre forward last season. 8 games. He had Cam. He had wing, left wing, right wing. So Kai Havertz can play as a striker, but he isn't going to give you 15, 20, 25 goals a season.
Okay.
Right? Or you think, or if you think he can, let me know. So Max, we're starting with Max. Max, rate me Kai Havertz as a striker.
Yeah, as a false 9, as a striker, centre forward, pure striker, he's gonna consistently score you numbers over 20. I don't think so. I don't think if is he going to be the striker to win us the league? Probably not. I don't think so at all. Great player, don't get me wrong. He's improving in his finishing, because I think last season, what was frustrating, I didn't say 20. I didn't say 15 goals. I said 20 in response to CFC Gem. I'm not sure if someone said 15, but I don't think he was going to get 20 goals a season.
I said he can't get us, the big.
Oh,
big
he was
numbers,
responding
20,
to you. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, 15 he'll get. I mean, he'll probably get that this season if he keeps on playing as a striker.
Yeah, and even if you look at he doesn't. He's not going to hold the line in the centre of the park. If you look at what he's doing at the moment, even the last 2 games that we played, he likes to play. He likes to drop deep sometimes. He likes to pick up the ball from wide areas, and he's not in the box a lot. But so with him playing, what you need is your wide guys to be contributing with goals, and our wide guys are not contributing with goals. Okay, Timo Werner started to score of late, but some of our wide guys are not scoring the goals for the space. We're moving into spaces that the empty spaces when he occupies different areas, and of late you're seeing him coming into the box to get on the end of things. Was it Burnley where he scored that scrappy goal? For me, I like to see my strikers scoring a lot more scrappy goals as well. So not just the delicate finishes, etc. You need to get in where it hurts. He's good in the air, though. He's good in the air. His finishing, I think, has improved this season from last season. Because last season, my thing was that he was just under hitting the ball or trying to have a bit too much finesse in his finishing.
Last season was difficult for everyone. With the no spectators, with him getting COVID, and
Yeah, I get that, but there's still, it doesn't stop you from giving the ball a bit more putting a bit more power.
He's more of a what do you call it? Of a
so delicate. He's more of a finesse type, graceful. Graceful is the way. He's a very graceful type of player. But I think this season he scored a lot more of different type of goals, and I do like his nastiness as well. He's getting that. He's squaring up to loads of people these days, and he's not going to get pushed about. And he's got that desire. I think he's got, he's a bit more, because he was a bit languid, and he had, that style, that Ozil type style. But this season, I think he's putting himself about a bit more, and getting involved in the action a bit more. But I really do want, as I said, I'm still not convinced that he's going to be scoring 20 goals a season for us consistently. I may be wrong, but yeah, I still think we do need an extra body in there up front, or goals from wide. So if we're getting goals from wide, then yeah, because if you look at Man City, they don't play, but they score. They've got goal scorers contributing from different areas. So with us, if we get people who can contribute from different areas, then he can quite easily play that false number 9 for the season. But if we haven't got that, we do need an out-and-out goal scorer, because that's what we're lacking at the moment.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to bring in Julius, who's just joined us. He's an hour and 40 minutes too late. but we'll forgive him. We'll forgive him. Julius, how are you? How you doing?
Hey, sorry, Mo. Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. So what was you doing, man? Why you so late?
Work.
Talk about
I'm checking the
personal.
sun
You know,
to read the time, man.
Like, what did you have for lunch? It was nice. It was. No, Julius, good to have you on, man. Good to have you on. Julius, have you been following the stream? Did you catch the Lukaku, Tammy Abraham bit, or you just literally jumped on with the Kai Havertz?
Yeah, I was following you.
All right, cool. So what I want you to do is I want you to give me a couple of minutes on each one, Lukaku, Tammy, and then give me your thoughts on Kai Havertz, so that we can keep the train moving.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't want to talk too much about Lukaku. You all know my opinion on him. I want to mention one thing. He never finished top scorer in Serie A. Even Immobile scored more goals, and I don't think Immobile is more than a bang average striker at best. So even Lukaku, when he was hyped, never finished top scorer in Serie A. Cristiano Ronaldo, who was not having the greatest season at Juve, and even Juve was struggling, he finished above Lukaku as well, I think twice. One time Cristiano, I think, finished top scorer. Second time he finished second top scorer. So you look at the context, that's why, like, those are indications for me that he was not gonna be a good striker. He was too hyped, overrated, because Serie A is different than Premier League, to be honest with you. Immobile would not score 10 goals in the Premier League. He scores 30 goals in the Serie A season. Completely different. Plus, Tammy Abraham, you know what? It's so obvious. We knew it, right? Even people who wanted Lukaku, they knew Tammy Abraham would go and smash it in the Serie A and score a lot of goals, even though he's playing in a team that is a lot weaker than the team Lukaku played with. Inter was the best team in Italy by far. Roma aren't that great, to be honest. So, of course, I'm bringing back what's his name? Tammy is not gonna solve anything. It's a waste of money, actually, on top of whatever we wasted. What I thought personally is, if we're gonna bring Lukaku in, we might as well keep Tammy. That's my opinion back then was.
Agreed.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we gambled like usual, and it didn't work. Is this enough about these two?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, let's hear about Kai.
What was the question about Kai?
Could we rely on him to be our striker?
Of course not. We can't, because if you want to compete to the Premier League, winning the league, you can rely on him in a competition like Champions League, FA Cup. Yes, sure. But if you want to be consistent, you need a striker. And Kai is a great player, but he's not a pure striker. He's not going to be reliable 100%. And you'll have these periods where Havertz is on fire, then he cools down. Mount comes, replaces him, and he carries the team for a couple of weeks. Then he cools down. Then Pulisic comes, and this is not sustainable. That's what has been happening every year, you know. And now we need all these guys to complement one consistent striker. And I'm not saying I want the striker that whoever comes in to score me 30 goals a season. Score me 20 Premier League goals, I'll be so happy. 20. That will make a huge difference. Imagine we had added to whatever Lukaku scored 15 more goals. Let's say Lukaku scored 15 more goals, which is 20 goals, right? In total, we would have been competing right now on the Premier League. And if not first place, to be honest. Because when we had the full 11...
back then we were having clean sheets left, right, and centre. So a lot of those draws would have been wins.
Yes, absolutely. And when we had the first team and they were all doing good, we didn't have injury. Lukaku was scoring goals. We were top of the league easily. What happened? Lukaku dropped the form, and it's not his fault. I'm not saying there is a lot. Football is it's not. There is so many details. It's not his fault, but he dropped in form. We started not finding solution in tough games. Our players are not consistent, and none of them is a finisher. What happened? We started dropping points. We add a striker that is going to put 20 goals in the Premier League alone. We will win the Premier League. We have the fundamentals there. We just need that striker, and of course depth. Of course, we need depth as well. I came here initially because I wanted to rant on.
I'll let you rant. Not yet. We're gonna have a rant segment at the end. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about Kai Havertz. We're going to then address Armando Broja. We're going to address the finances, and then I'm going to open the discussion to you guys. You can touch up on anything you want to talk about in respect to this topic. But I want to keep the structure until we complete the financial part of it. Then we'll open the discussion between everyone. Who wants to go next?
Can I go next in terms of Kai? Sure. Yeah. I just want to say this. So Kai is so young. I don't think any of us know what he's going to be or what he's going to do. A lot of players.
Just one second. Quickly, yes or no from everyone. Darwin Núñez, would you take him?
I like him, but not for the price they're quoting. They're quoting 75 million for him.
If the price was reasonable.
Yes, he's perfect. Big, super quick, finish.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Max, yes or no?
Yes.
I got that. Max, yes or no?
I can't give a yes or no because, as I keep saying, the grass is always greener. And his first touch. No, seriously, his first touch isn't great.
Maybe.
So we're going to be having the same issues as with Lukaku.
Right.
So I don't know. Right. I don't know.
I don't know. All right.
Nowadays, as a striker at Chelsea, I can't answer because every time we have a striker, they flop. So.
All right. Julius, yes or no? Or maybe.
I've never watched him. I'll be honest.
All right. Okay. Don't know. Eric. Boogeyman.
Big no.
Chris.
Big yes.
I'll go for yes. All right. Let's go back to Kai Havertz and Podfather. Apologies.
Okay. Yes. I just wanted to say, in terms of Havertz, I don't know what he's going to be. He obviously has a lot of potential. People were saying in terms of Germany, when he was coming up 17, 18 years old, they were already saying that in terms of talent-wise, having the physicality, the passing range, the goal scoring, they were saying that this is the best talent that they've produced in years, and they included Ozil, Ballack, all those guys. And it was like at his age, just based on pure talent, they felt like the sky was the limit for this guy. So there's a lot of potential, and you can see the difference in his game. And all anybody has to do is just go and watch some of those YouTube compilations, which are obviously make players look better than they are, because all they show you is the good moments and stuff. But Leverkusen had a very defined way of playing. They counter-attack football, two wingers, super quick. He would get the ball, spray to the right, spray to the left. He'd run, get his headers. There was a very defined way of playing. While I think with Chelsea, when we're judging strikers in this team or goal scorers, we don't have a consistent way of creating opportunities for these guys. So to say, this person should score 20 goals or 15 goals or whatever, I think we haven't even defined our gameplay to the point where we can 100% say, a young player growing up, playing in a different league, we can know exactly how many goals he's going to score. I think let's say we decide to go with him as a striker, and you get him two creators. He doesn't have a Fabregas. He doesn't have a Hazard. He doesn't even have a William in this team. So to say that we've seen him and we know exactly what he can do, we don't. He needs a creator. He needs somebody that's going to read his game. Like the way Fabregas would just look up and see Costa anywhere on the pitch. or Mata would look up and be able to pick out Demba Ba, Hazard, Oscar, all of that. He doesn't have it. You know, it's a lot of times now he's having to create and score his goals. And that shouldn't be the case. If you want somebody who's going to score 20 goals a season, create for them. Let them have multiple opportunities a game. You know, all those City players, they're not clinical. They just get chance after chance after chance after chance after chance every game. You know, that's why Sterling can still get 20 goals, even though he's not a great finisher, because he's going to get chance after chance after chance after chance. You know, so can he do it? I don't see why not. If he's getting 12, 13 goals and he doesn't take any penalties, and I repeat, all these guys that you see in the top scorer list, Kane, Salah, Vardy, whoever over the years, they all take penalties. And I'm talking 6, 7, 8 penalties a season. So that's almost half the goals that are penalties. You know? So I think it makes a big difference. So don't be fooled by the 12 goals he's got now. Because if he took half of those Jorginho penalties, all of a sudden he's got 17, 18 goals. I'm not even, 7, 8 games left in the season.
You're on mute, mate.
Oh no, that was it.
I'm on mute. I was on mute. I was talking to myself. Sorry.
Yeah.
So Pod, in a nutshell, given the right support, the right structure, he could be our main striker.
Yeah, if we decide to go down this route, you just have to get ultimate creators for him, and if you want him to concentrate on goal scoring, then have the creativity coming from the wingers. Have a creative midfielder, a number 10 that's actually at the top of their game that's going to find him consistently, and just let him finish. He's already shown he's one of the best finishers of the club already.
Yeah, I think he has the potential to be better than Kanu. Different player to right in Hanui, similar to Bergkamp. Well, all right. Who wants to go next? Chris or Eric? Boogie? Who wants to go next?
Yeah, go on. I'll jump in. So to answer the question, Mo, first of all, comparing it with the player that he's basically replacing to do a job, Lukaku, it's not comparable. I mean, Mo, I know you're on crutches. You would perform better than Lukaku this season. So to be honest, mate, looking at it, can he do a job? I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if we go down the route. We'll just need to wait and see. Will he, in my opinion, give you 15 to 20 goals? I don't see it. I just don't see it. Unless we get everybody firing and consistent in the final third and create for him, as Pod just said, and get the, a Fabregas-like player that will look up and pass to him. We'll see. But I don't know, mate. I don't know if he'll produce the numbers that we are looking for, that we were looking for from Lukaku, for example. So for me, I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's a don't know for me on this one. I'm not going to give a yes or no. It's a don't know for me. But I want to see him do well. He's a good player. He's a very, very good player. But in that position, I don't know.
Fair enough.
Listen, Kai.
I'll go to Boogie. No, who won? You can go now, Boogie, or you can go last and then take the first one, Armando Broja, because Eric already went last before. So it's up to you. Do you want to hand it over to Eric?
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. Eric, do you want to go?
No, you go ahead, Boogie. Go ahead.
Okay, so
okay.
Listen,
it's up to you guys.
I think Kai can actually score more than 20 goals a season. Like Max said at one point, Kai we saw last season and Kai we saw this season, he's not shying away from physical contact this season. All we have to do, when you put Kai and you put people like Pulisic, he has too much to do by himself most of the time. He has to dribble, he has to create, and Pulisic is being bodied by everybody. You have Ziyech that pretty much crossing in, or is not really physical up to the fight. And only Mount is left. Werner most of the time is control the ball and all those things. The only junior footballer in that midfield, in that attack, is Kai. So all that kid need is someone like Podfather say, a winger that is also good, that can create chances. If you can create chances or draw some attention off Kai, He'll be free. He can score. He misses a lot of chances. Right now, he's scored more than 10 goals or close to 15 goals or whatever that thing is. 5 goals more a season, I think he can, if you give him the proper partner.
Boogie, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. I think the point you made, the point Pod clearly made, Max to a certain degree as well. Kai Havertz is doing okay in a system that isn't geared for him initially. I agree 100% with Pod in respect to if he had the penalty duty, that will easily add another 5 goals to his tally, easily. Also, if you had a player that was geared to finding him, like the Fabregas. I mean, potentially Jorginho can do that well. Kovacic can do that well. Or we can bring in someone who, in training, is tasked with finding him, because I think it's key to build that partnership. Right now, we're seeing him and Mason Mount playing well together. But I think for him to be successful in getting those numbers, he needs not only Mason Mount or Ziyech or Werner feeding him, but he needs someone from the back, i.e. Thiago Silva, i.e. Jorginho, i.e. Kovacic, i.e. Rudiger, being able to bring in those long-range passes and finding him, because the kind of player he is, he can definitely utilize that kind of gameplay. So just wanted to bring that. Go ahead, Boogie.
So, like I said, to be a striker in EPL, you cannot just keep running away from physical contact, and he is not right now. He is in it. Whether he play against Van Dijk or not, whether he play against Stone or whoever you put there, he doesn't shy away from the physical contact. That's something I like about Kai this season. So my point is this: if you want Kai to score 20 goals, and even if you don't want, he's only 22. He will grow. His bone will get more stronger, and he will get a body weight and all that. So I'm pretty sure when that kid reach 25, and we are lucky enough to keep him at Chelsea, he will be one of the best striker in the league. I mean, Haaland will be the city, but Haaland, Kai will reach that level at one point. But all I think Chelsea need to do, I think someone said we should build a team around him. I'm not too sure if he has that status yet, but I think if we can put good wingers around him, that can draw some attention. Mount is one already. We just need to find someone that can actually dribble and physical apt to resist physical contact instead of all those Werner, Ziyech, and Pulisic. Those people that can people just body around for nothing. I think that's the key, and I'm convinced he can score more than 20 goals a season. I just don't see why people are doubting. Can he be the lead striker from Chelsea? Right now, it doesn't seem so, but I think one more year we'll see a different Kai.
One thing that Kai could potentially be, if not the main striker, a fantastic number 2, a second striker. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, he can play any position around our front, right? He is that good actually, and like I said, even if it was Frank Lampard's system back then, where he tried to use him as I think left midfield or right midfield, if it wasn't because of that COVID he had, he was pretty much playing really good also. So I think Kai has a good future either playing behind the striker or as a main striker. I think he can do both, and we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, definitely. Made a big difference to our season last year and this year. Let me see Eric Blue's thoughts on this.
So I was talking about Kai Havertz, right?
Where have you been for the last 20 minutes?
Yeah, sorry, I was I was listening, kind of. I was sort of half listening and half
Well, thank you
talking
very
to
much.
someone. Sorry. Yeah, Kai Havertz is he's a special talent. I always saw it. Unique player. I don't think his position is set in stone. Like Boogeyman was saying, he can play different positions. He's really good. So for me, he's not a striker. We can't depend on him to get us the goals on a consistent basis because I don't believe it's fair to do that, especially at this level. But he can definitely be a second striker. He can be somebody like, if I would compare him with someone, not saying that he's, you know, this player is anywhere near his level, but he would be like a Dele Alli. When Dele Alli was playing well in
Not really.
for Spurs, scoring those goals on that Pochettino, I think he would fit that mold in terms of a second striker kind of player who can get you like 10, 12 goals a season. I think he's very talented. And for me, initially I thought he could be our number 10. And even though he is a creative player, I think we just want him as high up as possible. That's where we want Kai Havertz. Not messing around in the midfield. He can't do what Kovacic does. He can't do what Jorginho does. He just needs to be as close to the goal as possible because that's where he's at his best, for the final pass and for the goal. So that's what I want to see from Kai more. Wherever he plays, I think, we're always a better team when Kai is playing for us. He's one of our best players for me. So I think hopefully Tuchel can keep improving him and maybe figure out a position where he fits the most. I'm not saying he has to, but if he finds his best position, then he can really build on it and we can see even more from Kai. So for me, he's the future. He's part of the future of this club. If we want to be at the top in the coming years, he has to stay. He has to see out that contract, and we have to help him as much as we can. Give him the support he needs, get quality players to contribute as well, and so we can create a not just a good quality starting 11, which I think we have, but we can have a squad to compete with the best teams in the world. You can say Chelsea are one of the best teams, but we're not top 2, we're not top 3 right now for me. So, and if we're top 3, we're still a ways away from the top 2. And I think we all know who the top 2 are. So that's where I see it.
All right. I'm gonna change topic and go to Broja, but I'm gonna give the first crack at this to Boogeyman because I know Boogeyman is a little bit short on time. So Eric, I'm gonna give it to Boogie because I've already let you have the lead on one topic already. This is the last player that we're going to be assessing today, and this is Armando Broja. Armando Broja is a player where a lot of the fan base are talking up. A lot of the fan base are happy with his performances and believe he could be a good addition to our squad and a player that can have a very good future at Chelsea Football Club as a striker. Now, the question I want to pose to you guys is Armando Broja ready to play for Chelsea next season, or is he still some way away based on his performance this season? So that is what I really want to gauge, because what do we need to do in the next transfer window will be pretty much decided based on what we're going to be evaluating. So let's have a look at Armando Broja's stats for this season. Has anyone checked the stats yet, or you guys are going into this blind? Tell me.
Going in blind.
No, I haven't checked. No, I don't think anyone's checked.
Good. Before I show you the stats, how many goals do you think he has scored this season, approximately?
I'm going to say 8.
9.
7.
Okay.
He scored 5 goals.
Max, if you've checked it, then I don't need to tell me. If you haven't,
what a party pooper, man!
No, I haven't checked.
I'll stay with Chris.
That's a guess. I know.
I guess.
I didn't check the stats, but I knew he scored 5.
So Armando Broja has actually scored 6.
So
Was
close.
it 6?
Yeah. He scored 6 in the Premier League with 1 assist, 1 goal in the FA Cup, 2 goals in the Carabao Cup, 9 goals, 1 assist in 33 appearances this season. Okay, now this is his current level in the Premier League, playing for a should we call him average? What would you guys call him? Average?
Below average.
Below average side. All right. So this is what he's scoring: 9 goals, 1 assist this season. Now, is there any point looking at last season's figures? It's not really relevant.
No, I don't think
right?
there's.
It's not really relevant. So that is where Armando Broja is today. 33 appearances, 9 goals, 1 assist. The man is 20 years old. Okay, he's had 12 international caps with 3 goals for Albania. Is Armando ready to play for Chelsea? We'll let Boogeyman kick us off on this.
Yes, we will never know if we don't try it. The kid physically is up for the challenge. Mentally, he is good. He's good with both feet. He can strike with left. He can strike with the right foot. Listen, he has low center of gravity. I've seen that kid running, people pushing. He doesn't go down easily. His cruise control in the box is one of the best I've seen so far for a young striker. He run, stop, 100% Eden Hazard. He mastered that. Listen, that much of quality, we don't see them around. Napoli won them. Newcastle won them. Arsenal won them. Arsenal won everybody. Anyways, the one time they also, they're not gonna get any. So, listen, Armando Broja come back to Chelsea. We give him a chance, but it depends on Tuchel. I think the kid fit Tuchel's system. This all those quality I just gave. The problem I think with Southampton is the coach always how do you shuffle, not shuffle, but rotate. Thank you. Rotate a lot. So that's why he does not play him consistently. Because if he was to be played as their main striker, those numbers would probably be double at this point. So for me, the answer is pretty simple. He is ready as long as we make space for him. Because even if Armando Broja came to Chelsea, with the intensity he's going to bring into that thing, to our line, our front line, I think he will get some goals. And I've seen enough from him that I think he deserves to be in that group. And we have 5 years contract with 4 years now left. Let's use him for 2 years. If it doesn't go well, we can loan him out or sell him. But now we need him. For me, as long as Tuchel is the coach, Armando Broja is a typical Tuchel system striker. That's all we need at this point. He needs to come back. And in case someone wanted to ask me, Armando Broja or Tammy Abraham, Armando for me.
Okay. Next season?
Yeah, next season.
All right. You don't think he needs to go out on loan for one more season?
No. I think enough of those loans. He needs to come back.
All right. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Me.
I'll go next.
Okay. So, in terms of is he good enough? My big issue, and it goes back to my big issue with the team, is the squad quality depth. Coming off the bench, the quality's poor. And as Armando Broja, an upgrade to an extent, yes, coming off the bench. Is he an upgrade to the extent of playing in the cup games and having players in the front three rest? He is. Southampton fans, I mean, I don't care about Southampton. I don't watch Southampton, but based on what I've seen on Twitter at the early stages of the season, Southampton fans were raving about him, and I'm pretty sure they would love to have him back. My only issue is I just reckon if Southampton were to offer 40 million or 35 million plus 5 million add-ons, I can see us selling him. And this just goes back to square one. Why? Why are we loaning him out? And he's 20 years old. People can slag him off saying, he's not performing to the degree that's required in the Premier League. Fact is, Southampton just sold Danny Ings, who was scoring goals on goals for Southampton. He's came in to not replicate the numbers but produce more. He's 20 years old. Give the kid some time. And it goes back to what Boogie just said there. Come in next season. Is he going to start in the first team? No. Is he going to be a good squad player? Yes. Coming off the bench. So we need to start improving the quality of the squad. And does Armando Broja do that? Yes. And does Southampton's left back, who we sold, Livramento, would he be a good addition at left back? Even though we've got about 10 left backs at the moment, would he be a good addition at left back? I think he would. So, I mean, I just hope we don't sell him. So, should he be staying next season? Yeah, he should be. I don't think he needs to be given another loan. I think he should be coming into the squad and see what he does when given the opportunity. So we need to give these players the opportunity.
Chris, hold on a second. So we'll keep Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
We'll keep Armando Broja.
Yeah.
Replace Lukaku.
Yes, but my point was I don't see Lukaku going, so I don't think we'll replace Lukaku next season. I just don't see it. I want to replace Lukaku, but I just don't see it.
So you think next season we're going to have Lukaku and Havertz staying? So Armando Broja will potentially be a boost to our attack. Should someone be injured? Should someone be out of form?
I would be playing Broja ahead of Lukaku.
Yeah,
100%.
Everyone would, but there might be a bit of pressure.
It's not going to happen, was it? It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go next because I need to go after this. Yeah, I was going to say, but someone's put it in the chat, and Livramento is a right back, not left back. Yeah,
same thing.
No, one's right, one's left.
Yeah,
Anyway, Broja again. For me, he needs another loan season out on loan. I know everyone's saying he's ready now, match ready now. He's not match ready now, in my opinion. You know, he's got potential, and he's got lots of potential. But if he's prepared to stay and learn under Chelsea and be prepared to have a big part role, then yeah. But I think another season would be better for his progression for me, because if you look at his numbers, 6 goals is good for his first season, but he's had a big drop off in his last few matches. And I was watching him today. I didn't actually realise that you were going to do something, because Burnley played Southampton today. He was poor today. He wasn't great. I've seen in the last few matches that I've seen him, because I do try and watch our loanees just to see how they're getting on. 1 or 2 good runs here and there, but over the 90
he hasn't. Sorry, Max. He hasn't scored in 8 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. He started all of these.
Yeah, he's had a drop off in form. He has had a big drop off in form. You know, he still does 1 or 2 good runs. The other day he did an excellent run, but it's fits and starts. You know, in the games that he's playing, he's not really contributing enough. And something else which you may find alarming is that his passing percentage is only at 60.7, I believe. And that is in the bottom 6% of all the top centre forwards in Europe. So he gives the ball away a lot still. He's raw. He's a raw talent. So that's what I think. You know, at Chelsea, we've got to realise that we have to have the creme de la creme. You know, and I keep saying it's not finishing school. We need people who are kind of ready now. And if, as I said before, if he's prepared to stay and play now and again, a bit part role, fair enough. But to be second choice striker, You know, because what you've got to think of as well is, and that's where we've made mistakes in the past as well, and that's why we didn't have any replacement for Ben Chilwell. Now we're stuck with Alonso for 90% of the season. We got to think worst case scenario. We got to think Havertz gets a bad injury. Are we going to be relying on what's it name to run is he going to be playing consistently over 20, 30 matches? Could he do it for us over that? I don't think so. I don't think he's ready. Broja's not ready. Bro's not ready for that as yet. For me, you know. But I wouldn't want to sell him because the potential is definitely there. But another season loan, iron out those, you know, those faults he's got in the game. He's young, as I said. He's got some. So just iron out those little bits that he needs to iron out, and then he'll come back a stronger player. And that's my personal opinion.
Can I ask a question quick or say something quick?
Go ahead, Boogie. Go ahead.
So, Max, normally Chelsea always said the youngster is not ready yet. Let's give him another loan. And during that time, because Chelsea is a team that always want to win something, will go and invest in a striker at the same time. So you're telling a youngster like Broja, go out for another loan, like one more loan because you are a rock diamond. You need to, how do you say, you need to work more and become a more complete striker. But at the same time, parallelly, you spend 60 million on another striker that you want to use it, and that striker is 25 or 26 years old. So how do you think that kid is feeling? So for me, isn't it better to just keep that kid in the group and have Havertz as a second striker and just sacrifice this season and next season you use it?
No, I don't think so. You know, if someone believes in their ability and they feel that they're going to make it, they will make it. If they don't, if they want to go off, then maybe that mentality is not for us. Because I keep bringing up Mason Mount. Okay, Mason Mount was somebody who went on about 3 different loans. His dad told him to leave the club, but he said no, he's going to make it at Chelsea because he had that mentality to make it. Gallagher is another one. Gallagher has already, I've read somewhere that he wants to come back and give it a go at Chelsea because he believes in his ability. Reece James as well believes in their, and that's the ones I want. People who believe in their ability, people who believe they can make it at the club. If you don't believe that you're good enough to make it at the club, then is that the mentality that we need at our club? I need people who are going to say, you know what, I don't care what superstars coming in, I'm good enough to get into this Chelsea team.
All right, fantastic. Podfather.
Yes. Yeah, for me, I like Armando Broja as a player. I think he's got the profile. I think physically as well. I think he's ready for the Premier League. It's not, which is important. You know, I think he's got the pace. He's got the trickery. He can play with his back to goal. You know, he can play different positions. Even for Southampton, he doesn't really play as like a lone striker up front. They play with almost like split strikers, and he's able to go to the right, go to the left. You know, take up different positions. And also his time in Holland helped him as well, because in those sort of leagues they really encourage the young players to learn how to play different positions and stuff. So he's definitely someone who even if we had a striker, he could still fit and find his way into the team. But I think at this present time, he would be a squad player if he was to come back to Chelsea. I don't think he would be someone that you know we could possibly say, we're going to pin our hopes on for the season. I don't think it will be fair to him either. You know, I think the pressures are very different. You play for Southampton, you miss 1 or 2 chances. I think they're way more understanding because of the level of team they are. I think for Chelsea, by the time the fans start moaning and groaning and all that sort of thing, you know. But at the same time, the thing is, when it comes to young players, for me, especially around this age, 20, 21, I feel like that's a key area in your development.
I've seen loads of youth team players being held back because they didn't go out on loan and they wanted to stay. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get into the team, but those are usually the supremely talented guys. But a lot of players, they need that game time to develop. I think Loftus-Cheek's first loan was when he was 21, 22. And I feel like that really hampered him as well, because he didn't develop that hardness, that skill that you get from playing in the first division, like Mount did and all these guys did, go and play for Birmingham for a year or Derby, just learn your trade, and I felt he's always had a little bit of softness and a little bit of lack of aggression because he didn't have to do all that. He's always very nice, because that's just the way academy products are, and he just never developed that streak like a Dele Alli, because Dele Alli has that devil in him because he came from MK Dons. He came from playing against men when he was 17 and battling, and so I agree with Max. I think it's a catch-22, because if we're not going to buy anybody, then he definitely has to come back, and he's definitely going to be going for a starting position. For me, he can do pretty much everything that Timo Werner does. If you told me you were, and I think he's at this point, he's probably he's a better finisher right now. He's probably just not as quick, but he's very quick as well. I've seen him skin loads of defenders this season. But what was that?
Manchester United defender.
Yeah, Maguire. Even when they played Liverpool, like, he gave Van Dijk a game. He ran. He didn't get past him, but he ran him all game. Like, took him to the, ran him in along the side and into the corners and whatever. He's very good at that. Very mobile and interchangeable. But I have to agree with Max. I think at this point in time, he's probably due another loan season out. And I think after the season we've had with Lukaku, I don't think Chelsea fans will be that patient with these attackers come next season. If we go next season, we're still fluffing our lines and missing goals. Stamford Bridge is not going to be a nice place to be. So I think one more season on loan for him, and then 100% he's either going to sink or swim at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I've got to shoot because I've got an early start tomorrow. So,
all right, Max.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks for having me.
Take care, bro. Take care, bro.
Bye.
Good night.
Okay. Same here. I gotta go.
Take care, Max.
Take care, Boogie. Take care, Baba. Have a good night.
You guys want to see you.
I mean, you could have waited for me to talk, but it's fine. I forgive you. It's okay. It's okay.
Listen, Eric, I guarantee you, when Boogeyman was talking, you weren't even here. I guarantee you.
No, I wasn't.
I have a question. Is Nigeria qualified for the World Cup? It's just a question.
Bye, Boogeyman. Thanks for coming.
Have a good night, Boogie. Take care, brother. I think Eric and Julius left to talk about Broja. So take it away, lads.
Yeah, I'll just go first, I guess. Broja is a talented player. I mean, we seem to say that a lot with these Chelsea academy products. We have a lot of talented players, but he's not good enough to start for Chelsea, I don't think. Not right now. But I think he can be a squad player. I think he can be a bit part player. Obviously, if you ask me now who I would prefer to start, it would be him, because he's actually a striker. Nobody in our team is a striker who is good enough, and I think he's better than Lukaku right now. So he would start for Chelsea, not because he should, but because nobody else is good enough to play in that position in our team right now. But I think he can come in and he can do a job. The guys already mentioned it. He's deceptively fast, very strong on the ball. I like the way he moves, in the box. He has very good movement and he can score. He's a very good finisher as well. So I'd like to see him potentially at Chelsea. Obviously, it's up to Tuchel if he wants him. I think Tuchel rates him a little bit. I think Tuchel understands that he's good. Whether or not he's good to be in the squad remains to be seen. But obviously, if he's not given the chance, then we will never know. So it's a difficult one. But if I'm looking for a striker to start for Chelsea next season, and we want to win the title next season, I don't know if Broja can make it into the team. But I would be looking for someone like Benzema or somebody on that level. That is the kind of striker we need. Harry Kane. This is the quality we require. So I wouldn't be looking at Broja to help us, unless we want to do a 5-year project or something like this. We shouldn't be looking at Broja to have any kind of major influence in the team next season.
All right, fair enough. I tend to take the stance of him needing more time. I tend to take that stance as well. Julius, what's your thoughts?
I like Broja quite a lot. However, I don't think he is the solution. We can't just next year keep the same team and then just add Broja to it and think, oh, we're good to go. Not gonna happen. However, when I think about Lukaku and Broja, for example, Broja playing in a Southampton team that is not that great, and even you look at his dip of form, it's also a reflection of the team in general. Southampton, the whole team in general has been not consistent, and they did actually drop in form. They had a very good run, which we was part of, and they were winning games, even big games, and then they started losing all of a sudden. And I think they've won a game by big margin, and they were on a winning streak, and then all of a sudden they lost. I forgot against who. And then since then, they haven't been consistent, and you could see his performance was affected by Southampton's performance overall. So it's not him being not good, or he's a part of a system. But you look at Lukaku, he scored 5 goals in the Premier League or something, right? Playing at Chelsea, which is 3rd best team in the league, not that far from being 2nd best team in the league, or even best team in the league. We're not that far from City and Liverpool. Honestly, we're not. And you just think, this guy is from the academy. He's 20 years old, playing in a very bang average team at best, doing same if not better than Lukaku. And if you ask any Southampton fan, and you ask him, has Broja been beneficial for Southampton overall? He's gonna tell you absolutely. He has been very important, one of the key players, in fact. You look at what Lukaku has been. I think Lukaku, if you take out Lukaku from that Chelsea squad and you keep the same team we had last year, we would have been in the same position, if not better. So it comes down to who we get rid of and what Tuchel's plan is. If I am in charge, get rid of Lukaku, bring in Broja, and let's replace Lukaku with a world-class striker, and Broja will be a backup because we need depth. That's exactly what should happen. But to keep Lukaku, bring Broja in, not gonna make any difference. In fact, it's probably gonna hurt Broja as well, because there's gonna be a lot of games where Broja is gonna be sitting on the bench, Lukaku playing inconsistently ahead of him, and he's gonna be like, "Wow, why did I come back? I could have been playing every single game." Where you can bring a proper striker, and Broja could actually develop his game from it. And even stylistically, Lukaku and Broja are completely different players. And I always like to have a youngster, let's say as a striker. If we can have a striker that is kind of have similar attribute to Broja can learn from him and develop into a better striker, and let's have this healthy competition. Who knows? What if Broja comes to Chelsea and starts banging goals left, right, and center, because he is gonna be playing with a better team
Sorry to interrupt you, Julius. I also think the way Chelsea play is more suited to Broja's style of play than it is probably to Lukaku or even Kai Havertz. I think Broja would definitely get better numbers at Chelsea than he would at Southampton. However, I think Broja has a very high level when it comes to his potential.
Mm.
And I think for him to fully reach that, he needs one more year. And I'll go back, I think, to a point that Podfather made. Or was it might have been Eric, actually, in regards to how the fans are going to look at him next season at Chelsea with the performances we've had from our strikers this season. We're going to, put him to a higher standard. And if he doesn't meet that standard, he would be given a lot of grief and a lot of stick. And maybe that would hinder his development and his progression. What do you think?
Very good point. Very, very good point. I didn't think about it. Our fans are sometimes a big reason why we hurt some of our players. We need to be careful with the youngsters. Some players, they hit their form and the peak at 25, 26, 27. Just be patient. All I want is to see, what are you adding to the team? For example, you look at Ziyech. Ziyech gets a lot of stick. I gave him stick too, right? But you look at the overall game from a macro perspective. We are a better team with Ziyech. And that's a fact. He doesn't score 20 goals, but we are a better team. We play better. It's not about only how many assists you've had or how many goals you've scored. There is a lot of underlying stats, key passes, big chances creation, touches in the box, dribbling, all these things that we overlook. And eye test too. Even sometimes stats doesn't do justice. Even if you didn't have the greatest stats across board, sometimes your eye test is what makes you feel, okay, this guy is decent. Because Ziyech, for example, every time he's playing, we look better than when he's not. Even when he's not in the best form, that's a reality. Because he will somehow, even if it works for him once, he will make a cross that is going to be dangerous. He will unlock. He will force the opposition team to play in a different way. Broja could be that player. I'm not expecting him to score 20 goals and 15. If he scores me 5, 6, 7 goals, which I'm pretty sure he'll probably score more, to be honest with you. If he scored 5 in Southampton, he probably can score 10 at Chelsea. 5 extra goals with him being someone who could actually be causing problems to the opposition defender, the back line, which I think he has that ruthlessness in him and physicality, can open up a lot of things for the other forwards. So we need to be patient and we need to be careful. We are not patient with Lukaku because he's 28. He's supposed to be a world-class striker, a Scudetto winner, and all these things, right? And he's costed 100 million. Broja is one of us. He's free. He's Chelsea Academy. Let's back him up and not have unrealistic expectations. If he does above expectation, that's amazing. It all comes down more to the transfer window and how we plan it.
All right. Look, this stream has gone on a lot longer than anticipated. However, this is a topic we need to fully cover. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the wage structure for Chelsea and Liverpool. We're going to discuss that, and then we're going to end the stream there. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we'll come back and from the get-go, address everything we've discussed on the stream today. We have opened 5 files today. We've looked at Lukaku, Havertz, Tammy Abraham, Armando Broja, and we're about to look at the wage structure at Chelsea and at Liverpool. And tomorrow, the stream will be about summarizing and debating and discussing the conclusion to the debate that we've had and information that we've looked at today. So bear with us for another, I say 20 minutes, half an hour, while we discuss the wage structure. And we'll leave the rest for tomorrow because I know it's quite late here in the UK. and we want to give people time to be fully focused when they're discussing this topic. So I'm going to bring up on your screen now. I'm actually going to bring up on your screen now the wage structure at Liverpool, and then we'll go to the wage structure at Chelsea, just so that we have something to compare with when we look at Chelsea. So let me see Liverpool. Here we go. Now I've not looked at this yet, so hopefully I have a chart here somewhere. Is this the right file? Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, if you scroll down, keep scrolling down to the bottom, you see the wages. And we keep going down. This is the Liverpool one, isn't it?
I've just got a lot of ads on my screen.
Yeah,
trying to get rid of them.
Just keep going down, and then you see the list.
Here we go. All right, so this is Liverpool's squad. It's not giving me a way to have. All right, so if we look at so they've got their positions. So they're goalkeepers, then they're defenders, and then they're midfielders, and then they're attackers. All right, so their number one goalkeeper, Alisson, he's on £150,000 a week. £150,000 a week. That's the number one goalkeeper. Now, if we look at the players they have listed as defenders, so they got Fabinho, who's listed as a defender, £180,000 a week. Virgil van Dijk, arguably the best defender in the Premier League. And I say arguably, depends on your opinion. £220,000 a week. You got Joe Gomez on 75. You got Kinote on 70. You got Andy Robertson on 80. You got Matip on 100. You got a couple of youngsters here on peanuts. You got Trent on 180. All right, and then you got James Milner, the veteran, on 140. Let's look at the midfielders. So you got Naby Keita, 120. Thiago Alcantara, 200. Henderson, 140. Chamberlain, 120. Firmino. So attackers, Firmino, 180. Mohamed Salah, 200. Mohamed Salah, 200. Diaz, the new signing, on £60,000 a week. The quality of Diaz on £60,000 a week. Diego Jota, £90,000 a week.
Oh my
Mane, Sadio Mane on £100,000 a week. Keep that in mind, yeah. Now let's go and have a look at our team. Our club.
Oh, I can't wait for this, Mo. Cannot wait for this, mate.
All right. Now, this is our club. Let's have a look. What do Chelsea pay their players? And again, I haven't seen this one before, so I mean, I have an idea, but this table. All right, so Romelu Lukaku, £325,000 a week. Now, remember, the highest paid player at Liverpool was Virgil van Dijk at 220. All right, now this guy, the scoring machine, the man that can't stop scoring for Chelsea, is on £325,000 a week. What a bargain! What a beast!
Oh, what?
Kante, 290 a week. Another goal-scoring machine, Timo Werner, 272,000 a week. The Rock in the heart of midfield, Saul Niguez, 198,000 a week. Just call it 200,000 a week. All right. I mean, we already can see this and compare it to Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah. Come on. I mean, really? All right,
Absolutely ridiculous.
Ben Chilwell, 190. Kepa Arrizabalaga. Do you guys remember Alisson?
Yeah, he was in the 100,000 range. Yeah.
Alisson was 150. So this guy is being paid more than Alisson is being paid. The player who we didn't buy because we thought it was too expensive, we bought this dude who we're paying 5,000 a week more, and we paid a hell of a lot more to buy him.
Yeah.
And now he's our backup keeper. Aspilicueta, 150. Kai Havertz, 150. That I think is fair. Kovacic, 150. Again, I think it's fair. Pulisic, 150. Callum Hudson-Odoi, 120.
That's a joke.
More than Mane.
That's a joke.
Jorginho, 110. Thiago Silva, 105. Marcus Alonso, 100. Tony Rudiger, 100. You can see why the man wants to leave.
Yeah.
He deserves more. I mean, see, some of these wages, they should be higher, and some of these wages should be a lot lower.
Yeah.
A lot lower. Hakim Ziyech, 100. I think that's fair. Mason Mount, 88. I think he deserves more.
That's a joke, yeah.
Tammy Abraham. Why is Tammy Abraham on this list?
Yeah, is this an old list? What is this? 2021 it says.
It's the same. It's not gonna.
Yeah, but why is... So is this based on the start of the season, obviously?
Hold on, let's just update. Yeah, it's the same.
Malang Sarr, what's he on? Malang Sarr.
Hold on, 1 second. I want to see where Saul Niguez. Where's Saul Niguez?
How much is Mendy getting paid? Edouard Mendy.
50.
Why have I lost players? I've lost players. Let's go back to the old one. Let's go back to the old one. Because for some reason, some of these players are missing on this one. Let me see if Mendy's on here. Edouard Mendy is on here. Yeah. 52. Charlie Musonda. I think he's gone now.
What's Reece James, Mo?
Reece James, 58.
That's a joke.
Yeah. Loftus-Cheek, 60. Christensen, 80.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Okay, so
what was Malang
Sarr?
Yeah.
Let me go into Malang Sarr. Malang Sarr, 120.
Right. Oh my days.
Malang Sarr is getting 120. All right.
Wow.
So, all right. Now this is clearly a massive problem. The difference is out of this planet. Now, I'm going to say this, and I know it's going to piss off a lot of people, but we had someone who we were labeling the best, one of the best football directors, one of the best negotiators, one of the best. I mean, and you see her, signing these contracts with these players. What was she doing, man? What was she thinking?
The question, Mo, you should ask, why our fans are not aware of this?
Listen, this is public information. Anyone can Google it and find it.
Exactly. But we hear about, we used to get criticized when we call her out. Because
because it's a sensitive topic. We can't talk about it for some reason. When people it doesn't make sense, man.
Most of the wages more of Chelsea, I have them memorized except a couple of players. And I've always knew whoever is in charge in operations, by the way, there is the director of operations, not only Marina, I forgot his name. Because these are the guys who forge those contracts.
Is it Eugene?
I can't remember at all. No, I think he's an English guy. Chris something, I can't remember. But the director of operations is also really responsible about this, because these guys are heavily involved with contracts as well and the numbers and all these things. And we are run by a bunch of idiots who have so much money on their disposal and have no idea how to use it properly and efficiently. And you look at the wages are just also a reflection of how much we pay on players who are not worth it. It's the exact same problem. Paying 325 for a player that is worth 100 mil to end up scoring 5 Premier League goals or 6 Premier League goals, it's the same thing. So the ridiculous part is Lukaku is getting paid as much as Van Dijk and Mane combined, and 5,000 extra, with a 5,000 a week extra combined. Malang Sarr gets paid more than Mane, an AFCON champion, a Premier League champion, a Champions League champion. That's ridiculous. And then we have people who are saying Rudiger should go because we can't afford giving him the money he's asking for. And this is why I used to fume. I used to lose my head. Because look at people open the wages and look at the wages. Look how many players we are overpaying. Saul Niguez, why did we get him to pay him 200k plus 15 million pounds on loan fee? Why? And exactly like Deals say in the chat, no wonder why Rudiger wants to go. No wonder why he hasn't renewed yet. It's absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah,
Mo,
yeah. Sorry.
If you work in a company, Mo, or Eric, whatever, and you are better, you have the qualifications and the education and the experience, and you do so much more work than a lot of your colleagues, and you are more important. You know that for a fact, that you are more important for your company. Think about it from a human, personal perspective. And you see someone who doesn't do anything, sitting on the side. He's not that even important to the team that you're part of. He gets paid 3 times your income. He doesn't have the same qualification or the experience or the abilities. How are you going to feel about it working there? You tell me.
I think this puts things into perspective,
Disgusted.
honestly.
Yeah.
It really does. Based on what we've just done now, and we already knew that there was a problem with the wages, but based on the way you've just broken it down, and Julius as well, I mean, Marina should get sacked. She should have been sacked a while ago, based on this. I mean, based on the fact that we had like 3 of our defenders who are so important on the last year of their contracts, and we still, before Aspi got an automatic renewal, we were still wondering what's going to happen. And then Silva eventually got his contract, extended, and we still don't know what's going to happen with Rudiger. It's an absolute embarrassment.
This guy is saying Saw paid more than Mendy. Seriously, forget Mendy. Let's do it like for like. Saw is getting paid more than Rudiger. He's getting paid more than Rudiger.
Rudiger's on 100, right?
Saw's on 120, right? Saw was on 120.
Yeah, 120, yeah.
If that's not a sackable offense for a great director, I don't know what is. I really don't understand.
And when people criticize her, it's some kind of big problem. We cannot criticize Marina for some reason. We seem like we're hating, or we're being biased, we're being difficult. No, look at we just broke it down very easily. Based on this alone, yes, he's done some good things. I'm not going to say take that away, but this is too much. It's too bad. Teams like Man City, yeah, they spend a lot, but they do things very efficiently as well. And look at how many trophies they're winning. It's not going to be too long before they start replicating what Chelsea have done, which is why we can't let them come in and try and catch up to us. So it's bad. It's very bad. Marina has to go.
I was reading, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, about Mohamed Salah being upset at his contract, and he wants to be paid the same kind of money that his peers or his, players of his caliber are being paid. I was thinking to myself, I mean, come on, man, how much is this gap between you and your peers? I didn't realize he was only getting paid 200. I didn't realize. I looked it up, and players of his caliber are earning close to $1 million. Close to, I mean, Messi, Ronaldo, players of that caliber are earning, 800 a week, 700 a week. Okay, Tony Cruz, a central player, 350, close to 4. Modric. There's a lot of players who are earning nearly $500,000 a week, and they're not as vital to their team as Mohamed Salah, and they're not as productive in their league as Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah is arguably one of the best players in the Premier League today, but he is no way near getting paid what he's deserved. That being said, when I look at the rest of the structure, the rest of the team, Mohamed Salah is getting paid good money for Liverpool, for their standard, because there's only one player getting paid more than him. That's Virgil van Dijk. And he's getting paid $20,000 a week more than him, so it isn't that big of a gap. So when you think about it, Liverpool are doing really well, in the way they're managing their club. Liverpool are doing a fantastic job getting good, talented players and convincing them to play for peanuts. So, Chelsea, we talk about pulling power. We talk about, we signed this player because, he loves Lampard and he's coming to play for Lampard. Bollocks. Sorry, I'm swearing, but it really is.
It's the money.
It really is. It's the
he's
money.
Not going to get that money knowing he
anywhere else.
He's not. And you know what? This is another thing. It's not about we are an attractive club and everything, but the problem is more. And again, Marina is not the only one responsible. There is a couple other people who are not as known as her, who are involved in the contracts and the negotiations. She is one of the big ones. She is one of the important leaders in the team that make big decisions. But also, I think Bruce Buck has a say because he's her boss and the director of operations and the scouting department too. Because at the end of the day, she gets information from the scouts. Okay, they probably ask for reports, numbers. Is this going to fit the attributes the manager is looking for or come close to it? So I don't want to scapegoat Marina alone. She has to go though. Just as much as I want the other ones to go. The way this club is run in a very unsustainable, inefficient way. We win Champions League or FA Cup, this and that, and we cover the cracks. And that's what I told you last winter. We covered the cracks. People don't know how inefficient we are, how slow. We don't have a strategy. We gamble. And this wage structure is a mess. We make fun of Arsenal and Man United. We're not any better. The only difference is we have a proper manager and we have a winning DNA. We are a winning club. We have the winner ruthless mentality.
Julius, and I'm sorry, I'm not giving people a chance to talk here, but one of the problems we had about signing Erling Haaland, do you remember? It was the wage structure. He's going to come in and disturb our wage structure. What wage structure is he disturbing, man?
Oh my God.
What wage structure is he disturbing? Seriously.
£100,000 a week are being paid. And I'm only going to say 3 players. Timo Werner, Lukaku, and Saul Niguez. Not going to mention Kepa, not going to mention Malangsar and Hudson-Odoi, who is also on 120. And I love Hudson-Odoi, and I don't want anything, I don't want even to sell him. But it's also ridiculous, right? But 3 players more, £600,000 a week. Do the math, times 52, that's 32 million, 31 million, something like that. And we're talking about we can't afford Haaland. Really? 32 million on wages on 3 bang average players.
Yeah. I want to bring in Podfather on this because I love to hear what he has to say about this.
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing, the research and stuff, I think that was the thing that really, stuck out to me. Because I think when I looked at our wage structure, I saw about 13 players that all earn more than Luis Diaz. And these are not good players or players that are useful in this team. Yeah, Alonso, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Sa earns more than Luis Diaz. Drink water.
Twice as much.
Baba Rahman, yeah, on loan. What's the guy's name? Bakayoko. The list goes on. Now, the only thing I'll say, we have to be a little bit fair here. Like, Liverpool are an outlier, especially in the Premier League. Like, everybody else's wage budget has been crazy the past couple of years.
You want to compare us with City? Okay, let's compare us with City and see what it looks like.
People have been throwing away money like it's going out of business, basically. Yeah. Now, the successful teams have had to spend. Yeah, apart from Liverpool, like Tottenham have a good wage structure, but then they don't win anything because they don't improve the team when they need to. Arsenal, they actually pay quite high wages, but the club is run like a basket case. So Liverpool, they're a bit of an outlier, but then it looks like that's the model we're going with. That's why I thought it was very interesting to look at their wages, because most likely that's the kind of model that we're looking to be run like in the future. And now people ask, like, why is Marina still around and all that sort of thing. What you have to remember is the net spend. Even though net spend is fake, but let's just pretend it's real. Yeah, Chelsea is 9th on the list. Yeah, in the Premier League. So we make a lot of money from player sales. That's why she still has a job. I think with the second, in the last 15 years, in terms of player sales in the world, I think Chelsea's 3rd or 2nd, behind Atletico Madrid and Benfica. Benfica is actually
we sold, I think, 20 players last season, didn't we? Something like that.
Yeah, but it goes even further back. It goes 50 million Oscar to China, 50 million Ramirez to China. Like we've had some great sales. Bought David Luiz for 25 million, sold him a year later for 50. Eden Hazard 130. Mata 50 million or 40 million to. So we made profit on all these players that we bought and we're selling. But the thing about net spend, it's not real, because it's wages. Wages is what defines you as a club, because the wages, you don't get any money back for it. So the thing about net spend is, if I buy a player, it's an asset, yeah, on my balance sheet. So when financial fair play comes and they're examining the books, it's looked at as an asset, because you can potentially sell it for either that price that you bought it for or more in the future. But the wages, if I give you 100,000, it's gone. It's never coming back to the club. Yeah.
I just want to. So 1 second, Pod. Dexter. She is the one that signs off on the transaction. Maybe she isn't the one picking the players. In fact, I'm pretty sure she isn't the one picking the players. There's a scouting team. There's a whole process that deals with that. But the financial side of things, when it comes to buying players, selling players, and their contracts, she has a major role in that. Is she accountable for it all by herself? No, she's not. But she is definitely the one that signs off on it. I think Julius wants to add something to this.
Yeah, just very quick.
Yeah.
Dexter, I'm not sure if you're watching or you just joined. We just said we don't want to blame only Marina. We mentioned director of operations. We mentioned the scouting department. So what we were saying is not ridiculous. It's facts. She's part of a very bad, inefficient leadership realm or group, let's say, who are running the club in a very inefficient way. It's not only her fault. She's a big part of it, though.
Okay. Pod, sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to address that. Pod, continue. I think we might have lost Pod.
Yes. Yes, I was saying that basically, so just like Julia said, nobody's blaming her. We're blaming the whole structure of the club, basically.
Yep.
And the way it's run. Like it needs to change. It's not sustainable, especially now that our benefactor is not going to be around, and you can't just bail us out with 100 million, 200 million here. Now it's going to be cutting your cloth accordingly. But the whole point of this exercise to show the thing is that at one point Liverpool won't run well as well. Like this is all last 6, 7, 8 years that they've changed their outlook and the scouting and the way they're able to get players. It's just to create a discussion among the Chelsea fan base that we are able to attract players on competitive wages, but not overspend. You know, they take you for a mug a lot of times. Oh, Chelsea's coming in, so we're going to raise the prices or whatever. But they only get that because they know in the past you've paid some ridiculous, crazy wages. You know, they're big clubs, whether it's Bayern Munich, Liverpool, whatever, that they will haggle every single dime and get you down to that cheapest price. And they'll scout players for 2-3 years. They scouted Luis Diaz for 2-3 years. It wasn't a matter of just getting him after 6 months or 1 year, whatever. They've been in conversations with the player. So the player was studying their system before he even joined them. He knew exactly how they wanted to play. So when he got there, he just hit the ground running. You know, there's a relationship, you know. Oh, and also Chelsea fans as well. We have to be realistic. We can't come and, like, you know, demand. You know, if you're going to demand superstars, then they're going to come with superstar wages. So we have to be very realistic in our approach and, like, who we want the club to sign, and you know, who we're going to push for, and all this sort of thing on whether it's on social media. Whatever.
I'm gonna ask one question. I want each one of you to answer it, and then we'll conclude the stream. And this question is as follows: the next transfer window is going to see a very large amount of players out on a free. I think Manchester United alone is going to have like 6 players who will be leaving on a free. Dembele, Dybala, Pogba, Cavani, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of players who are going to be out on a free. Now, when you come to sign, and I think Chelsea will probably pick up 1 or 2 players who are on a free. When you bring in players who are on a free, normally you tend to pay a little bit more for them, wages wise, and that's what we saw with Malang Sarr, because Malang Sarr is a player we got on a free, and that's why we probably paid 120 a week wages for him. Do you guys think that it's a good idea to pay more wages for free transfers, or should you not have that in your negotiation tool when it comes to bringing in a player on a free transfer, and, you know, pay him what he is valued, rather than, because he's a free transfer, pay over? And I want to hear from each one of you in respect to this, and then we will discuss the rest of the topic in tomorrow's stream. I'm going to start with Chris, since he's been quiet for a little bit. We'll start with Chris.
So what was the question overall, Mo? What was that again, sorry, mate? So the question overall was, okay, if you're signing a player on a free, is it worth paying that little bit more? Is that overall the question? I think that just comes hand in hand with getting a free transfer. You're going to be paying over the odds. Is it worth it? Depends who the player is that comes on a free. For example, I know that's not going to be popular, but Paul Pogba's on a free. I would take Paul Pogba in a heartbeat. You know why? Because he's a quality player. And
would you pay him inflated wages because he's on a free?
Would I pay him inflated wages? It depends what he's asking for, because this day and age, if we've got Lukaku on 325 grand a week, so if Pogba sees that, he's going to be demanding close to that or even more than that. Would I pay more than that? No, I wouldn't. Playing a player on 350 grand a week is just an absolute absurd amount of money. I would pay him what is logically correct. Okay, I mean, what you said, looking at those players, well, I had to lie down when you're reading those figures out about Chelsea's wages, mate, in case I passed out. Okay, but can I just say, some of those players are getting paid more a year than Thomas Tuchel. You know that? That is a joke. Okay, but anyway, that I'll save that for tomorrow's stream, mate. Yeah. So, is it worth paying that a little bit more? Depends what kind of quality of player you're getting on a free. So, I mean, Paul Pogba, if he was to ask for 250 grand a week, I wouldn't have an issue with that because I know what he can bring to the team and I know what he can do when he has supporters backing him and he's not in a toxic club like Man United. If you're giving me a player like Malang Sarr, for example, who we did get on a free, that 120 grand a week, no, he's not worth that at all. He's not worth that. I mean, people are saying to me, Callum Hudson-Odoi being on 120 grand a week wasn't an issue. Seriously? Okay. What about Ross Barkley? You know what I mean? So Malang Sarr came on a free. We got him, 120 grand a week. Not worth it whatsoever. But players, it all comes down to the quality of player that you get on a free, mate, in all opinions. Pogba, Dybala, I know he's done well with Juve. Is he worth the wages he'd be asking for? I don't know. But it just depends on what the player is. Just depends.
All right, fair enough. Lads, I know some of you are falling asleep at the wheel. We're almost done. I think Podfather is switching accounts. All right. Let me go to Eric Blue. Eric, same question to you. Do I have to repeat it?
No, I got it. Don't worry. Yeah, I don't think we need a situation like Malang Sarr, where just because we got him on a free, we can pay him 200,000 a week or something that's stupid like that, or what was it, 120? That's ridiculous. So it should be a case where, okay, you can slightly overpay for the player, because even with the wages we're paying for Malang Sarr, we can probably still make a profit on him. But that's not really the point, You would want a situation where you can pay slightly more than what the player would be worth, but not a situation where the whole structure is crazy anyway. The idea that the Premier League pays more than every other league is a reality. Without Chelsea having to be the second highest, without Chelsea having to have the second highest wage bill in the whole league. That's crazy. I mean, if you think about situations like Werner, I think Werner is earning more money than some of City's more important players. I think he's earning more than what's his name, Mahrez.
It's more than Salah.
He's earning more than Mahrez. He's earning more than Bernardo Silva. So it's just bad. It's very bad the way it's structured. I don't really get the points. It doesn't make much sense to me. Yes, like we said earlier, the sales are they are making it not seem so bad, but it's unsustainable, and we've been saying this for a long time. It's not as if we just started talking about this now. So for me, it's a big problem. Yes, you can afford to pay a little bit more if the player is a youth player, for example. So like for our players, Reece James, Mount, these are our cheapest players, and they also happen to be some of our best players. And it's a case where that's not, it's not happening for them. They should be getting paid, higher than they are based on the value they're providing, and maybe higher still based on the fact that we didn't spend any transfer fee on them. But that's not the case. And then you get some players who are earning 2-3 times more than they should. So it definitely needs to be restructured.
Eric, focus on the question. Should we pay over the odds for free transferred players?
Okay, so obviously I rambled a bit there, sorry. The point is yes, but not too much. Slightly over, not too much.
Fair enough. I'll leave Pod to the end. Julius.
Yes, you make me laugh more. I was laughing so much when you told Eric focus on the question.
Listen, he's quiet for the whole stream, and then when I give him a chance, he just stops talking. Come on, man. I love Eric. I love Eric.
I love him too.
But his mic isn't working too good today. I have to say that though.
No, it's different. Don't worry. I'll get back to the other one soon. It's this. Yeah, I'm using a different setup.
No, because this one's crackling a little bit, but I'm used to getting the crisp, clean audio when I'm listening to Eric, and now I'm a little bit disappointed. But I'm not as disappointed as seeing the transfer budget for for Chelsea though. Julius, should Chelsea pay over the odds in contracts for free transfers in the next window?
No. depends on the status of the player. How can I explain this in a way that makes sense? Because like if I say I knew Lukaku is not worth 325, it's gonna sound ridiculous or arrogant. But we need to realize these things. Like I don't understand, how is that not obvious? I really don't get it personally. You tell me Haaland is worth 500k a week. Yes, he is. He is worth 20 years old, 21 years old. I don't know his age exactly, but his numbers are unbelievable. Not one season, consistently. Plus, I think that business value he adds to the club would be unbelievable. So someone like that, yes, you sign someone like Everatti, he's gonna be expensive and high wages because he's a star. Yes, those kind of players are expensive. You could tell there is a status, there is a career behind them, there is performances, big performances behind them. And I just throw Verratti as a just random example. I rate him highly personally. But people like, for example, Malang Sarr, 120? Seriously? Kepa, 150? 70 mil or whatever, 72 million pounds and 150 on wages. Unbelievable. And Alisson gets paid the same. And he is one of the best goalkeepers in the world at the moment, not only in the Premier League. So we should pay high wages for the right people.
Julius, you are my deputy. I get paid 60, you get paid 150. That's a bit crazy, isn't it? Mendy gets paid 60 and Kepa gets paid 150. 155.
110k is extra, 105k something. Yeah. Unbelievable. And Kepa gets paid more than a lot of the superstars of the Premier League. Like Mendy just came last year, had very good season. He showed
Kepa gets paid more than money.
More than money, exactly. More than a lot. Yeah, more than a lot of people. I'm not familiar with all of Liverpool's structure. I can't remember them right now on top of my head. But same with City. I'm not sure what's their wage structure is looking like. But it's ridiculous, Mo. Like also when we bought, this is you actually, the way you presented this topic today was unbelievably well. You opened the eyes of many people, because when you see it visually, it's different than when someone talking about it. And you just literally compared two competitors and you showed the difference. It's unacceptable. It looks like a bunch of rookies running the club. They have so much money, they're spoiled, and they're just throwing money left, right, and center inefficiently. And I've told you, this is what I meant before, Mo, when I say we gamble a lot. We have a lot of money and we gamble a lot. And the only reason we get away with it is because we have so much money at our disposal. We keep buying this guy and that guy and this manager and that manager. And we win one major trophy every couple of years, and fans forget about the root cause. And I was talking to Pod on the other yesterday on the chat, on our chat group, and I was telling him, let's not focus on Arsenal's game. Arsenal's game was very bad, but there is a huge underlying issue with how this club is run. We can talk about how bad we were yesterday all day long. That's not going to change anything. That's not going to change the fact that whoever is running this club have no idea what they're doing, because we're going to do the same mistakes again. We did it with Conte. We did it with Mourinho. We did it with even with Sarri. We did it. We did it with Tuchel. Tuchel, he's been here since a year. I don't know, a year and a half almost. I'm telling you now, Mo, he has not signed a single player yet. His own players. He hasn't. None of those players that we have right now is a Tuchel signing. None of them. How can you be okay with that coming from a Champions League win? You are the European champions. And then yet again, you manage to absolutely mess it up. Unbelievable.
I'm just worried that all the situation and this mess that we're in right now is going to reflect upon his future at the club, and Tuchel would be a big loss to us if if for whatever reason he isn't with us next season, either because of
Yeah.
the new owners or because of his personal problems, his dissatisfaction with the way things are going. It's a big concern. It's a big concern.
The
I
biggest proof,
wanna
by the way. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the biggest proof that we gamble and we don't make decisions based on actual thoughts and proper analysis is the fact that we gave him a very short contract.
You guys there?
No, I think that their internet is a bit. You all right,
All
Bo?
right, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Before I bring you in for the last segment, I've lost Julius, Chris. All right. I want to just ask the people in the chat. We're on 79 likes, so we are. We haven't reached 100. So if you can do me a favor, if you haven't hit the like button yet, just hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. If you're new, subscribe. Julius mentioned how he enjoyed seeing the stats of Liverpool and Chelsea when it came to their wage structure. That was actually given to me by Podfather just before we went live. He thought it would be important for us to have that comparison. So thank you to Podfather for bringing that to our attention, because it really is an important factor in regards to how our club is being run. And until you actually see that comparison, because seeing just the figures by themselves, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. But then when you see it compared to one of our main rivals, you take a sit. You got to sit back and you got to think something is all right here. So cheers for sharing that with us, Pod. Pod. The question is, should Chelsea pay above the odds or over the odds for free transfers in the coming window? In respect to wages, that's what.
Yeah.
That's what yeah.
Well, it really depends on the budget. That's how we've beaten a lot of clubs in the past. We've been willing to go up and above. Because Liverpool were interested in Werner as well. Once we came in with our offer, that was pretty much them out the wall. They were going to match 270k a week. I think the rule in football usually is if somebody signs for you, they're looking to double their wages most of the time. So this is where the scouting and behind the scenes come in, because you can get a player like Diaz who's on 30,000 at Porto. So even doubling his wages, you're only getting to 60. The way we signed Mendy and the money we have Mendy on, that's actually people are feeling bad for him, but that's actually the right way to do it. The man has doubled his wages, and he'll probably get a contract offer probably beginning of next season or the end of next season, and he'll be able to raise his wages again to 100k. But that would be like, but that's how it should be. It shouldn't be, oh, you play one good season, we're gonna put 100,000 on your contract. It doesn't. It shouldn't work like that. The Hudson-Odoi one, it's a bit complicated because we didn't want to lose him. He was going to be in his last year of his contract. He's 21 or 20 at the time. Everybody was saying he's going to be, a superstar and he'll be worth 70 million, 80 million. So we panicked and we gave him, we did everything we could to get him to stay. That if he went on to be the player that he was supposed to be, that would look good business, because then you can potentially either sell him in the future, or he's just worth it because he was supposed to be one of the best young talents in England. So going forward, there are loads of ways to do it. I mean, I saw there was a couple of years ago where Juventus would only sign free transfer players, and they want like really big wages, and for a time it worked until it didn't. Because it's a gamble just like anything else. There's no surefire strategy. What I would say is you want to buy players because people who tend to like run down their contracts tend to be older and maybe coming towards the end of their career, and maybe don't have the same hunger or durability. So you want those younger players who have a lot to prove, and they also tend to be on low wages. So you can find a young player in. I'm sure there are loads of players in the Premiership that are on 40, 50k that would gladly come to Chelsea for 80, 90, or 100 or whatever. Not just us offering them 180 out the gate. Like there's no way we needed to offer that to Chilwell. There's no way Chilwell said, I'm only going to Chelsea if you guys triple my wages. There's no way that discussion was had. So I think we just need to be smart about the way we move.
Yeah, totally agree. I totally agree. Look, people, we will be live tomorrow to continue this debate and also to cover the latest news and topics. We should be back to normal programming. I actually am very surprised that I've been able to sit up for so long, 3 hours and 22 minutes. So it's been a chore, but it's been a good sign. So hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. We should be having a match preview for our games coming up, and back to normal programming. I've also got a few special shows planned in the pipeline. So make sure you've subscribed. Make sure you've turned on that bell notification, and make sure you've hit the like button on today's stream. The Blue Lounge is back, and we're back in business. Thank you for being here. I know the stream has been longer than normal, but I wanted to make up for lost time. So thanks to my panelists. Thank you to Eric, to Podfather, to Chris, to Boogeyman, to Julius, to Max Burton, to everyone who's taken part in the stream. And you guys in the chat, you've been fantastic. Thank you all for your comments. Thank you all for your feedback. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good one. Take care. Peace.